Hello, everybody out there in YouTube land. It's your t-shirt historian. So, weebs, weeaboos, otakus. Been called all this stuff, and I don't care, because I'm one of the original ones, all right? Going from way back when I was a kid, and I used to watch Battle of the Planets every day, in the mornings and in the afternoons. And before that, I think it was, I definitely watched Star Blazers after school every afternoon. But there was all kinds of stuff. There was, back when I was a kid, in the 70s and the 80s, cartoons were that was the province of children. And, Japan had a few things that were translated and brought over. And so I would catch them. And then later on when cable TV came out, Showtime would have like afternoon shows. So I got to catch up on stuff like Guy King and Sea Prince and the Fire Child, all this other cool stuff, all these really cool old anime that at the time, they were being ported over from Japan. And, if they'd have been released in their unedited form, no doubt they would have made a impression on my youthful mind with all the hyper violence and adult situations like nudity and stuff. But as it is, they still made an impression on me because I grew up loving anime. I grew up, loving manga. I remember bugging the shit out of my comic book dealer for Golgo 13 as soon as I found out about it. And I'd bug him every day I went in. It's like, hey, man, did you guys get Golgo 13? No, we don't have it in yet. Okay, just checking. But, yeah, that stuff was a big part of my life growing up, and it still is to this day. I'm still buying anime. I'm still buying manga. I'm glad that the rest of the U.S. has finally been able to catch up and is, starting to enjoy it too, and has been enjoying it, I should say, for a while. And I think it's kind of interesting because over the past few years, a lot of the anime I've been watching and seeing has fantasy RPG themes to it. And, fantasy RPGs aren't anything new. I mean, we grew up playing all that stuff too. Final Fantasy, pretty much anything by Square Enix was, a JRPG that was probably worth playing. Secret of Mana, Lufia and the Fortress of Doom, all this stuff. And all the old Japanese games and stuff always had that grindy element to it. It's just like you had to grind up levels. You had to grind up levels in order to be able to face down with the big showdown with the bad guys and all that. And it was just part and parcel of the game. You did it. You worked through it. You picked up the better weapons. You got enough money to buy the super duper expensive armor and gear and get your party ready to go, and had 4,000 bottles of, Phoenix Down and everything else because you knew you were going to get your ass kicked. But that was fun. We enjoyed it. And we thought, wow, wouldn't this really be cool to be able to play this kind of stuff in your role-playing games? Because, all we had at the time really much was, Dungeons and Dragons. I didn't start finding out about all of the other cool games out there until I started working at the game store and discovered, oh my God, there's a whole world of role-playing games I've never ever seen before and didn't even hear about. Because I would hear rumors every once in a while about this mythical game called Call of Cthulhu, which I finally managed to acquire one in high school, and nobody played it, but I have it. It's still sitting over there in my shelf, and that's the thing. The Japanese love role-playing games too, and they love them as much as we do, maybe more. And what is their top games in Japan are not necessarily the top games we have over here. To my understanding, their top games are Sword World, which is a D6-based system, and Call of Cthulhu. It's not Dungeons & Dragons. And I was actually surprised to find out that Tunnels and Trolls actually had a big following in Japan. They actually released Japanese supplements. I have PDFs of them because getting the originals is like, trying to find a needle in a desert. But I thought it was pretty cool because the Japanese gaming culture has been translated into anime and has been translated into their role-playing games. You know, I was surprised to find out that it's the Japanese who actually picked up the Wizardry series because they loved it so much and they kept running with it. And so as a result, there's tons of Wizardry games that were released by the Japanese. And you can go look them all up. Matter of fact, I bought Labyrinth of Souls not too long ago. And that's a Wizardry game. And it's fully, you know, Japanese artwork and everything. It's beautiful. So this is kind of something I've been wanting to do for a long time. And I told Grim about this months ago. This is actually meant to be a Dungeons and Discussions. But we kind of kept putting it off for various reasons. And finally, I just said, you know, enough is enough. Let's get out there and let's talk about this, because I want to showcase today what is really cool about Japanese anime, how it translates to our gaming experiences with TTRPGs, what they brought to the TTRPG genre that we're using or we're interested in playing with, and, you know, just kind of in general explore it from different people's perspectives. So here we go. Let's bring everybody on, shall we? So we have the Basic Expert.
Hey everyone.
Who I don't think he watches anime at all.
No, I'm a fish out of water here.
Yeah, but you're a game dude, so we know that.
Yeah.
As
a Hispanic, we're only allowed to watch DBZ, so you know.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Goku, show me the way.
We have Guard Bro. We have Mr. Raltz, who probably has stepped out for a cigarette. Oh, there he is. We have Ironcaster. We have Iris, who doesn't know anything about you know, kaiju, Japanese stuff, gaming, nothing. I mean, he knows nothing. He's just completely in the dark. So everybody go easy on Iris.
I know absolutely nothing about it at all.
No, nothing. What was your favorite anime?
What's that? Favorite anime?
Yeah.
Oh, that's like Batman the Animated Series, right?
You get the fuck out of here.
I mean, he's not wrong, though.
It's pretty good. I mean,
Well, we all know his real answer is, of course, Bible Black.
There you go.
Jesus Christ.
I'm too busy doing the Charleston Chew with top class dames to watch anything made after 1980.
Oh, classy answer.
I felt my knees hurt when you say that. Like, oh god, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Is it raining outside? What the fuck? Is there a storm
Well, I mean, hey, come on. Let's face it. Most of the best anime was made back in the 80s. So
80s, early 90s.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, if I say Vampire Hunter D, how many people here have seen it?
I have actually.
There's
this guy. I have that copy. But my actual real response is as boring could be in Neon Genesis Evangelion. It was Slayers for a long time, but
I'd say Slayers
probably wins for me.
Okay. I mean, let's start with Slayers, because Slayers is a Dungeons and Dragons based fantasy RPG genre type anime.
Well, I think
Definitely
we should start with Lodos War, because Lodos War was actually based on a BX campaign.
Okay, well, that one actually got my attention pretty quick too. I think the first time I heard about Lodos War was actually in a Dragon magazine. And it made such an impact on me that when I went to Japan back in 92, I actually looked for a complete set of the VHS copies, and I spent a bunch of money finding them, but I got them all while I was over there, brought them all back. Untranslated, uncut, pure anime, and it, you know, and it was just wonderful. It was awesome.
See, I first saw it due to the fact that Blockbuster had on VHS back in the 90s. So I remember, like, my mom would rent a fucking VHS player and then rent the here you go. I'm like, yay, anime! I go sit in the room and watch it.
Mm-hmm.
So you know about it. But like early 90s, 80s anime was like the best vibe of all the animes. There was no like this super woo stuff. It was mostly like really gritty things, you know?
Yeah.
It's really nice.
Yeah.
I
Well,
like
I
how
mean-
I need no introduction, so I got no introduction.
Oh, I'm sorry, Grim. Did you want a special introduction? Hold on, one moment.
It's fine.
He's like angry.
Grim the
Hello.
Magnificent, our man of the hour. He is. There you go.
There you
And then
go.
there's
Shut up.
t-shirt. Okay.
All right. Well, I mean, getting back to it though, it's like, yeah, Lodos War was based on an actual role-playing game because it was a campaign that those guys played, and it was using Sword World, and it was 2d6, I believe, wasn't it?
No, no.
Was
It
it?
started with a Beckme game.
Was it Beckme? Okay.
It was Mulvey D&D, so it was either Beckme or it wasn't Beckme. I think it was BX, but
It was just BX. It was one of those.
yeah. But they printed each session was reprinted as a kind of a transcription in Comtech magazine, which was kind of a computer and like nerdy magazine in Japan at the time, like a pop culture magazine.
Mhm.
And the one of the players actually like drew all the characters, you know, and stuff like that. I think he ended up being one of the designers for the anime itself, but that was the first time I heard of anything as famous as that, like actually being based on D&D, like basic expert set, you know, with like the full campaign there. It had the character sheets are in the magazine. All their stats are there. Like it changes from session to session, like what magic items they find and stuff like that.
Okay, so
So
that's
it's
the
pretty
connection. Yeah, the Lodos War creator helped work on Sword World. Okay, that was,
yeah.
that was the connection.
Was
That was
enormously popular. Enormously popular.
That whole culture of replays where you have transcriptions of games, that's been hugely influential on Japanese RPGs.
big time.
When you
I've
we think back in the day, a lot of people couldn't play, so you kind of play by reading with these others and kind of watching the story develop. It's one of those things where I think most people enjoy a living story. So if this is back in like the late 80s, early 90s, it'd be a pretty new thing though, wouldn't it? Having a living story progress week to week to week via issues.
well, I mean, it's like your weekly gameplay.
I'll say, but that also brings us to the modern Let's Plays. That's effectively the evolution of that idea.
Pretty much.
It's just faster. I mean, instead of waiting for a new issue, you just simply turn on your gigantic computing machine that's on this giant World Wide Web kind of weird looking thing and watch you play the game live.
Okay,
I
man,
mean-
we're not that old.
Like, no, I'm just saying that's this small span of time, like barely even 30 years. You've gone from snail mail play-by-plays to you can watch it happen live and watch people get banned in real time.
Oh god, I still remember PBMs. Anybody else remember those play-by-mails?
Play-by-mails.
Yeah.
Oh, play-by-mails came before MUDs, didn't they?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We didn't get MUDs until
Prime.
They advertised
Play-by-mail.
they advertised play by mail in the back of Dragon magazine and Dungeon
Mhm.
magazine for a while in the 80s.
Mhm.
Imagine
That's
being
where
a fighter.
that's where Darwin's
Attack.
World came out of. It was a PBM.
Play-by-mails always kind of cracked me up. Imagine like you're facing a troll. I attack. This 3 words in the mail. Send it off.
Yeah.
Oh, you attack.
I mean, it was what it was, man. I mean, and you had to pay to do that too. So
Well, it's kind
Not
of all
just
you had,
postage.
wasn't it? Either you had your group in line in town, or you had a play by mail. I mean, there was no Discord. It wasn't even TeamSpeak at that time. That's all you had. Or you had like the early AOL messengers where you're trying to get catfished by some fucking 80-year-old dude in Texas.
Well, in the
It's
80s,
just-
a lot of times you could do it on the BBSs. You
Yeah.
logged in at 300 baud and prayed to God your sister didn't pick up the phone.
oh god, God, and everybody still remembers the noise that thing would make.
Sacrifice the robot. Connect me to the World Wide Web.
And then,
Yeah.
you'd make your post and then you'd log out because you only had like 15 minutes on the BBS every day. So you'd like log in and go through the menus as fast as you can with the keys because mice were for rich people and gay artists who use Macs. So, you go
Mhm.
fast as you can. And, you're
Dice
trying to
were for people.
You try to keep it for under 60 seconds to look at it and then log out.
Remember, because that's right. You have to like use control and tab and find the source and tab.
Yeah,
That's right. What was two hotkeys where you go through and find stuff? That was hellacious.
I think that's why. I mean, not just play by mail, but that's also why solo gaming was, I think, bigger back then than it is now in a lot of ways. I think people think that's weird, but now back then, if you didn't.
Go ahead.
Well, I'll say the Red Box came with its own solo adventure that you'd play through. And I know I've talked to people that played through that repeatedly, and then things like Traveler, which came out in '77, specifically mentions a solitaire game. So
I didn't realize solo play was a thing. So is this some guy at the table rolling dice with himself, or like what exactly was that? You're like, you had your game set up. Here's my character sheet, and you roll dice, and you're just playing with yourself. Like that seems really fucking depressing.
It's not actually. It's just different.
Okay.
You have to have a good game to do it. Like Traveler or like old school D&D is good at that. You use your random encounter tables. You pretty much just GMing yourself. So
we got to.
I mean, if you didn't have anyone to play with, and play by mail is not an option, like what else do you have to do if you want to play?
And I got a $2 super chat here from Hungar the Star Variant Nerds. So here, this one's for you.
Go outside, nerd. Get out. Go. I ain't got time to be distracted by your worthless chime-ins. Go on.
I fucking love that movie, dude. Jesus.
Fucking love that movie too. Yeah.
But no, so to me, I was really young at that time, so I didn't really know about playing by yourself. But like it seems like a very lonely experience. Like, I guess I'll play my dwarf. You're just at this giant table by yourself in the dark with a lamp on you. I rolled to
no, it wasn't like that. It's like Grim and I come from the solo play experience, and we used the Fighting Fantasy game books, so you could actually read through them and like make choices and stuff. It was kind of cool.
Yeah, that's what solo play kind of used to be. The market was, these choose your own adventure books and so on, and I guess also that feeds into the Japanese replays and so on. But now solo play is more like GMing for yourself. I guess it's good for honing your improvisational skills and learning the rules and things like that. That's where it also used to be massively popular, was like to help you learn the rules as the games master. There would be a very short solo adventure in a lot of RPG books. I think all the D6 system books had it in.
There's an old Travelers Aid Society zine from like 81 or 83 that talks about solo Traveler, but you would do it like day by day. So it takes like a week to find a patron. So you're like, I'm going to see if I'm going to find a patron. And so you just spend like a few minutes a day seeing what your character does. And then you go the rest about your day. So I think even in the early days, there was lots of different ways to approach it.
I'm not sure.
You'll play with yourself.
I'm not trying to sound mean, but that sounds bleak. It's like I don't want to be mean, but that sounds bleak as fuck, bro. Like, I guess I'll see what my character does today. You roll a dice. Well, all done. It's like God, because now, like in the '90s, you were getting your first RPG game. You could play, an actual solo adventure without feeling depressed the entire time. Like I think, because I guess in the '70s, what else did you have? I guess there wasn't really video games, was there, that could kind of do that whole thing?
We had like Pong and Space War and Missile Command, stuff like that. Space Invaders, but nothing like what we got today.
Rogue was really early.
Yeah, it was.
I think the difference though is like a video game, even in the '90s and even up until today, you have barriers. Like, I can't go beyond this. If you know how to solo game and you have a good game that can allow you to do that, like we'll just default to 1977 3LBP Traveler. You have tons of random encounter tables. You have tons of like tables to see if you're going to haul cargo, what kind of passengers are there? Is your ship going to get hijacked? Like, what kind of cargo is available? How much is fuel going to cost? You have all these things that you can do, and so it's you're playing against the game itself because it gives you these tables. You're just kind of acting as the CPU for how what happens, I guess. So it still works. Like, you're still like using these tables, and you're still surprised by what happens, but it's not for everyone. I will admit it's not for everyone, but like it's explicitly called out. It's explicitly called out on the 3 LBBs in 77 and Traveler, because I think Mark Miller knew back then, like, people are going to buy this thing and they're probably not going to get. How are they going to get people to play this with them? It might be hard for them to get people to play this with them.
Yeah. Character creation in Traveler was explicitly designed to be like a solo game.
Yeah, it's fun. You can die in car gen.
It would take some self discipline, like to not try and cheat. Like, I'm gonna re-roll that. Like, it would take a very particular kind of person to like actually play it properly. Like, you know what? I found a Vorpal sword. How crazy! Like, you know, like it requires a certain kind of person too. I think. Yeah.
That's almost like, you know, I'm gonna play a modern game with all the mods and the cheats on. Like, I don't know. That's not fun. At least that's not fun to me. At least the first.
It's kind of an old problem with the whole new font. There's always a guy like, I want to play it the hard way. I'm gonna put in every fucking cheat I can think of. And just, you know.
Yeah.
Well, and Full Metal Dragon has a really good comment. It says Tunnels and Trolls was the first RPG with solo aspirations. It came out in 1975. Yeah, and like I said, they have a Japanese edition because apparently it did take off over there because it was a 2x6 system, and apparently polyhedrals were hard to get a hold of in Japan. But everybody had a pair of dice. So the 2x6 systems became popular over there, and Tunnels and Trolls, being like one of the oldest and earliest games to embrace that, picked up on that real quick.
And one thing I'm upset about too is that the covers for the Traveler books in Japan were way cooler than the ones here in America. They had like the coolest covers.
Oh yeah.
You okay, Victor? You look like
I literally just woke up. So what's up, guys?
you're just like
yeah.
Victor. Hey,
I'll put you with the talkie heads.
do you guys like caffeine too?
Cool too.
See, I assume that the Japanese, you know, knowing their culture, would take that very seriously. Like for them, they'd be like, "I'm playing solo play." They like play it completely straight the entire way too. Probably. Like I've never met. Like Japanese gamers I've met for like RPGs, they are super straight razor edge, dude. Like they don't even fuck around at all. They are like, we play the game the correct way, and they don't even deviate in the least. No funny hee-haws. They're playing the game.
Well, that's kind of like part of their culture for everything too, though. It's like they want to do everything, you know, by the rules because it's like that's part of their society. That's part of how everything is ingrained within them. But you know, like I said, you know, some of the most interesting things is when JRPGs actually started to come out, like Sorcerian and Wizardry and Ys and all these other games. All that stuff required lots and lots of grinding on your characters because you know your character would start out at like level 1 and you had like just like barely anything to be able to survive with, and you'd see items and stuff in the little shops, but it was so far beyond your reach to afford it. So you were going to have to go out there and just kill tons and tons and tons of monsters to be able to afford better armor, better weapons, and everything else. And it became a grind. Yeah.
That'd be horrible earning your way to the top. You could imagine like the current Zoomer gamer trying to use an old style game. Like, I got to grind all these fucking dragons to get this is stupid.
Oh, they hate it. They hate it. That's the thing. It's the modern.
I've got a real job. Thanks.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, the modern gamer is so like, you know, time crunched, and so what's the phrase I'm looking for?
Lazy.
Lazy, weak, yeah, no. But I'm thinking they're instant gratification absorbed. Oh yeah, that too.
Well, no. I mean, I think that you're not wrong there because you look at a lot of the way social media is. And there is just that instant gratification. I need the number to constantly go up. Give me all the dudes. I need, you know, and then you go look at, you know, at the shorts with TikTok. I mean, heck, we used to have Vine where you would have to have like these very like short like media forms, which is no surprise because you see like also a lot of Hollywood movies are not doing well because, well, they're too long for people.
Okay, Death's Dancer. This is a good question. Does anyone think that JRPGs have had any impact on the TTRPG scene, for better or worse? Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Random
There's a lot of opinion on that. Yeah.
Yeah. The random encounters. Yeah.
JRPGs inspired JRPGs to begin with, so it's just a circle of things.
So you also fight. You bring that up.
Also, I can't tell you how many times I've sat down at the table with people to play. It doesn't matter what group I'm with or who's playing. we sit down to play, someone's immediately gonna start like kind of humming out the Final Fantasy battle theme. Do.
Yeah,
but like a lot of JRPGs still use like old school D&D tropes to this day, like old school
they
D&D
do.
monsters, like all sorts of stuff, like especially, and yeah, like Final Fantasy, that like kind of is where it started. So
yeah, because a lot of us, we grew up with that stuff, so yeah, it's part of our culture too, just like all the other games. But
It's
more
a shared
recently,
culture. Shared culture.
yeah. But more recently, it's like what I'm seeing in a lot of the anime is what's really popular, or what has been really popular for the last couple of years, is isekai animation, where people go to other worlds, and typically these other worlds are fantasies, and the characters themselves are overpowered, and they tend to be able to access, RPG mechanic type things for themselves and for other people, because they basically treat everybody like NPCs and stuff.
There's a guy some kind of dumb to me. I don't know.
No. Come on now. You know what I'm talking about. Like Overlord is a good example of this. What is it? Skeleton Knight in Another World is an example of this. Reincarnated as a sword. Reborn as a vending machine.
I saw
those
that
things. Yeah.
I was hit by a truck and reborn as a slime.
Exactly.
Truck
Yes.
Truck
Yeah, but I mean, that's the thing. That's like the trope, though. All these guys, they die, they come back, and for some reason, they gain the ability to grind and level up and power up and be stronger and more powerful than everybody else. And they have a game mechanic system that is pretty much just like a JRPG or a TTRPG.
Have you ever noticed that nobody else in that world is smart enough to do the same thing?
It's a writing
That's what makes
issue.
them special. Yeah.
It's half the time it's actually a writing issue where they have this great idea.
Oh yeah,
but they scale too fast, too high, and it's like, okay, what now? And now you're bored. Like a lot of these isekais, either web mangas, webtoons, whatever you want to call them, they'll be cool for about 4 chapters. It's like, okay, well, you've more or less hit pinnacle. What are you going to do now? Have a harem? You're boring. Go away. It's a razor's edge. It really is. And I have an opinion on it because I wrote an isekai pretty much. But like,
Why?
it's like, hey man, Appalachia.
Kill this man. Drag him out to the impact range. You know what happens now. Get on your knees.
It's too late to stop me. It's too late.
It becomes like,
oh no, what happened? Oh no, how terrible! That's just awful. How terrible! Oh no.
You think I feel shame, Imperial? But no, but like writing it's tricky. It is tricky maintaining. I'm not going to shill Death Dancer. I'm not going to shill my game on here. It's just rude. Oh my pundit, it'd be weird.
it's called isekai writers, right?
But yeah, it's a guy writers, cringe writers. But no, it's a lot of these new mangas coming out. Like they're like the early isekais. There were quite a few of them. They were very well written, but they don't maintain the power level carefully enough. Because if you go too hard, then everything's very mundane. Like there's no more risk anymore. Like the Skeleton Knight one was cool as shit because he kept dying over. He kept dying. I was like, this guy's gonna fucking grind it out. You know, he would die and come back, and you slowly get better and better. And there are a few of them where they die and get set back in time to a restart point. And they got to start again. I love those as a guys because you're watching them grind out and suffer. And suffering makes a story very tasty. You know?
Yes.
Yeah. Hey, Burroughs wrote an isekai. That's what John Carter is. So
that's right. That's basically what John Carter is. It's an isekai.
Oh, actually, is that true? How when you apply the measurements, is Terminator an isekai? Get you going back in time? Like,
if you really want the Chronicles of Thomas Covenant are isekai.
Yeah.
Every book starts out with some stupid shit.
King Arthur's Court.
Oh, no, I'll give you one even better. Victor probably knows this one. Golly, it's damn, I can't remember the name. It's by Leo Frankowski. The not the Clockwork Knight, but it's basically the guy goes back to medieval Poland, and he basically, since he's an engineer, he get the Cross Time Engineer series by Leo Frankowski.
Stargate's
Stargate. Okay, so I was waiting for that. Stargate is technically an isekai, and people fucking hate it when you point it out.
Yeah. But that's the kind of isekai I like, though. I don't like the isekais who's like, I died and now I'm a vending machine in a dungeon and I have an elf.
It's funny. Come on.
No, but it's stupid. I like the ones where it's like, hey, like, oh, we discovered this fantasy realm actually exists, but we're Delta Force, and now we're going in.
I'm an isekai with a shotgun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gate.
Narnia.
Gate.
Narnia. Oh yeah, Gate.
Yeah, Gate's awesome.
There's an American. I'm in a new land. And I smell oil, and the fucking F-14 flies in.
Yeah, call it manifest fantasy.
Yeah,
yeah,
there you go.
I got resurrected as an OSR creator in the real world, but I ran out of money and everyone hates me now.
That is just John's life. That's my life. That's
I was saving this, but okay.
I've remade BX 17 times. When you've remade BX 17 times in Poland. I can feel putting a curse on me right now. Oh, stop it! Your pagan magic is hurting me. Start fucking passing out.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, but that's the thing. It's like everybody from any time period and like that has always dreamed of being able to go into another world, become more powerful and everything. I mean, that's like the root of fantasy. And it's like, yeah, the Japanese jumped on that big time because, I mean, you got to think of how miserable that's got to be, man. You're working like 12 hours a day as a salary man. You know, you're eating and you're at your desk and in a little office and, you know, people treat you like shit all day. And then you have to go home.
Yeah, but there was no power fantasy involved with early RPGs in the 80s. Like players grinded out like 12 hours in like Dragon Quest games like every day.
Oh yeah, and they still do.
A long time to get anywhere, and they liked it. I like grinding. Okay, sometimes.
There's nothing like grinding away in your oppressive Japanese cubicle job for 8 hours and then coming home and grinding Marlboros for XP and gold.
Well, why not? I mean, it's like one of my favorites was the Phantasy Star series, and that was grind-tastic, and it was wandering monster-tastic.
Someone once told me, as I had asked this question, that this is probably wrong because it paints all of Japan with one broad stroke, but culturally they find more value in slowly but surely working towards a goal rather than just having it be handed to them immediately. I don't know. Maybe that has something to do with it.
Silence your tongue. What are you talking about? Earning your way through video games.
So if going to a different world and being more powerful is like a staple of isekai, does that mean that when I went to America, that was an isekai because I was taller than everyone? All of a sudden, like chicks like me, and because my accent, like I felt so powerful over there, like you wouldn't believe. So
you sound foreign. Where are you from?
Yeah,
I can't even get mad at you, man. You can go smoke a joint and go see Vincent Van Gogh stuff and go fuck a prostitute, and nobody's gonna get up your ass about it. That's
probably America. This castle. You got one of these? I didn't think so.
Probably the U.S. government owes the Netherlands like millions of dollars anyway from like the past war.
Oh. Well, you know, there are still people who talk about the secret banking Illuminati that actually controls everything behind the world, and I wouldn't have believed it except that BlackRock started all their bullshit with DEI. So
I'm not going to talk about that because people already got mad about that once, right, John?
Yeah.
Oh,
what about banking?
So, Japan games, yeah.
Yeah.
So how about them RPGs, eh?
Getting back to it, yeah. But I mean, it's like okay. I mean, and look at some of the other modern anime that has been coming out and has kind of been influencing the TTRPGs. Because one of the things we've been seeing here lately.
Do I have to?
We have to.
No. The future is now, old man.
Fuck your future.
But like,
fuck your future. I'm gonna vote against everything you want.
I'm
gonna vote for Nader.
We're not political. Come on now. But
I'll teach you. I'll vote for Perot.
Oh, is he even still alive?
I don't care. I'll just write him in.
There's a crit like I can run this country. He's in a fucking sarcophagus, like attack Saudi Arabia.
It can't do any better than the fucking ghoul, the Fallout ghoul hanging out at the beach for the last 3 weeks.
Vote for this bill, smooth skin.
If the voters don't have to be alive, why does the nominee?
Yeah.
I mean, oh shit! Damn.
The European coming in hot. I like it.
Here we go.
China, that's where the fun is at. China, that's where the fun is.
There we go. But okay, it's like Dungeon Meshy has gotten really popular. Well, delicious in dungeon for you Americans, but
Dungeon Meshy.
But yeah. No, I'm serious because not only did it bring up, and I'm sorry, John, I know this is one of your hot buttons, so get ready. It brought up, dungeon ecology, like why are monsters there? How do they work within their environment? Why do dungeons happen? And what do monsters taste like? Why aren't we going through these dungeons eating monsters? Well, and then all the rules.
That giant orc meal taste like?
Well, yeah, it's like all these.
What does monsters taste like?
That's the thing. Is like all these adventures. I mean, all these Japanese anime started coming out that had those things as elements. It's like campfire cooking in another world is like the dude is going through and killing monsters and cooking them up and eating them and Japanese style preparations and stuff. And it's just kind of like
it makes sense with humanity. It goes like this: can we kill it? Can we fuck it? Can we eat it?
Yep.
Now can we eat it?
Sometimes all three.
I mean,
but the order is very important when you find that out.
I have a fork, a sword, and a dick. All three are getting used. You choose what order.
This is why I love Ralts. Yeah.
And then T-shirt got banned.
Just need a D100 table where every single entry is chicken to determine what flavor they are.
No, that'd be funny though. Actually, that'd be pretty fucking good.
And yeah, you're right. Axe does sort of answer both those questions. I love Axe because it's kind of like if you had a weird question about anything in your role playing game, McCree has probably thought of it because the dude is just like a super nerd. I mean, like, and I say that lovingly because I really do love the guy's stuff. But I mean, it's true. Yeah. Anyone know why the Japanese are so focused on cooking in manga? Probably because it's just like anything else. Yeah. It's an interesting question. It's like
the other thing is also fishing. Like, have you seen the amount of like games that have to have fishing mechanics put into them just to please the Japanese?
Mm-hmm.
It also pleased me. I love fishing in games. I remember when I was playing Twilight Princess, like at a friend's house, and literally all I did was just like do the fishing at the beginning and never even like did any of the adventure.
See, I remember in World of Warcraft, I was a little fisherman, and you pull up gear and stuff, going fishing and stuff. It was so much fun. And like my favorite scene of that goofy ass anime was what's it called? Sword. It's one they're stuck in the game, and he's like a sword master. It's like they have him trapped in. It's basically Dot Hack in the future. But there's a scene in the Sword anime or Sword Art Online. Whereas an old guy, he just fishes every day. He doesn't progress. He just fishes in the RPG every day. That's all he does is fish. And I was like, that guy's a fucking boss because he's like, I could get myself killed, or he could just fucking fish every day. He just fished. That's what he did.
Yeah. Why not? I mean, that's the thing. It's like I don't know why the cooking stuff is so popular in the anime these days. I guess it's because maybe the Japanese are starting to expand some of their tenets of their role playing. It's no longer necessarily like, let's just go hack up all the monsters. Now it's let's go hack up all the monsters so we know what they taste like when we cook them with ramen or something. I don't know.
So I think go ahead.
I think there's just an element of comfort that they're looking for when they're doing it.
Yeah, that could be.
Well, that and there's also fun watching a lot of the izakais where it's a kitchen izakai where they have like a fucking ramen shop or something, and it's basically a door. Like there are like 4 or 5 of them that I read religiously because I love that shit. Like you got people who are like basically feudal time lords in a way, feudal time, lords, and they're enjoying like fucking hamburgers and shit. Like to me, it's like that is peak anime right there because it's fun. It's a fun thought. Like if you had a small Victorian child, you gave him a fucking Taco Bell $5 burrito, would he enjoy it or die? You know that kind of thing. I love that concept.
I'm not familiar with any of these shows at all. So do they get like powers or anything from eating monsters?
No, sometimes. It depends on the show. But yeah,
there's some shows where the entire plot is just they feed fantasy people. That's all they do.
It is.
Yes, just gonna go as a dwarf today.
Yeah, I mean, imagine if you will. Okay, we're all role players, and it's like I invite you all to the role playing game, and everybody's got their characters all built, and you're ready to play, and I say, you all arrive in the kingdom, and the king calls you before him and says, I am hungry, and I have heard that you are brave adventurers. Go out and kill something, cook it, and bring it back to me. And then all of a sudden, you guys are looking at me like T-shirt, what the hell's wrong with you?
Fuck you, T-shirt.
I mean, where do we start?
All right, so
I'd play that.
Here's a question, though. Right. A lot of this seems to be comfort-oriented and cozy, Ghibli-esque stuff.
Yeah.
So why is it okay when the Japanese do it, but when Western gamers try to set their twee little games in a coffee shop or, going to prom or whatever, we lose our minds?
Because it's gay.
What's the difference?
Let's just be frank here, because it's gay. Come on.
Well, I think what it is also is the fact that they're taking like an established already existing property, something that's more that most people tend to have a tendency to see geared towards combat and geared towards all the action, and are now suddenly trying to take that sudden leftward turn with the idea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like nobody cares when a game like that is made from the outset. Like what's that game? Stardew Valley was like really popular. But nobody wants to see D&D with original all the cool art from the 80s and stuff. All of a sudden they turn into we have a side cut and we're dancing at prom.
And also at the verge of becoming almost political. I would say that in Japan, anything like seemingly warlike or involving a lot of combat and like killing things would be seen as very right wing over there. Which they tend to avoid.
There's also the influence of Shinto, I think you have to take into account, which is almost animist in its worship and integration with nature. So I think that provides an impetus towards the kind of coziness and more naturalistic approach.
Well, I mean, do Americans just do it differently? Like you read George R. R. Martin's books, and he spends pages just describing food. So
what's their tax system?
George R. R. Martin does it because he's got an overinflated ego that's almost as big as his fucking gut, and he thinks he's better than Tolkien, so he just dribbles out retardedness on the page.
I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm just saying that he does it, and whole cookbooks have been made because of his food porn descriptions in his books. So,
well, hell, they made the Skyrim cookbooks too.
Yeah.
Dragonlance cookbooks and
Fallout cookbooks,
and
I always hate
that Final Fantasy cookbook.
Like I will say right now, those books are stupid because it's just fucking braised beef. All right, not doing anything like it's braised yakum leg. It's fucking beef. All right, quit being fucking weird.
Okay, hold on, guard, bro. Hold on. I'm gonna get something that I know you'll definitely appreciate the Japanese for. Hold on.
Is it giant buff orc woman?
But I think the answer to the basic expert's question is that something like, like the Lord of the Rings might have some passages about food, or The Hobbit, I should say. Things like that seem cozy, but it's not the entire book. Like it's not, it's not the whole game.
Actually, who was it?
Here you go. Here you go, guard.
Is it different?
Oh yes, my favorite cookbook. I agree. Many tasty recipes in that book.
The holy text.
Yes, the holy text.
We need a Coomer alert.
Careful, T-shirt. You know you can't just open that book up randomly.
Well, I mean, it's like, who wants to kill this kobold? Seriously, it's like nobody
I
does.
would.
You kill.
How much experience do I get?
Jinx.
But who was it that asked? Is it different for cultures? Because I've been thinking about that. And I played Shadowrun when I was in Germany in the 80s, and I also played. We had a couple of Japanese guys that were Japanese. Don't ask how they ended up where I was at, but they played D&D. And they do have different approaches. I mean, a lot different approaches. Mm-hmm. The West Germans had a completely different approach to cyberpunk and Shadowrun, and the Japanese dudes I knew had a completely different approach to D&D. which made it really kind of interesting. And contrary to popular belief, they weren't offended by the Oriental Adventures book. They loved that thing because how many kids in the 80s would have never even known what a damn ninja was unless they turned on the TV, went to the movies, went to the mall,
Like,
yeah. Or how many, but never mind.
No, you're right. You're right.
Well, that and Grim was saying about how it's not all the Shinto and all that, but these same guys who made Ghost in the Shell, for God's sakes, it wasn't all the way around.
And the thing is also with that was in the case of Strixhaven and the coffee shop thing, it was just kind of the 1-2 combo of it's a college with a coffee shop, so it already seems like it's already kind of queuing itself up for those jokes.
They had the ability to make it good. Don't get me wrong. The bones were there, but it was used as a immediate political device off the bat.
Well, it was Hogwarts with nothing fun.
Yeah,
it wasn't even Hogwarts. Hogwarts would actually, if they had done like a Hogwarts knockoff where you're going into what's it called? Hogwarts with the serial numbers.
That's what they did, though.
No, they made a Seattle college with vague fantasy shit slapped on it. They didn't make actual Harry Potter Hogwarts with secret cool dungeons beneath it and magical rooms that you can find, and there's trolls down there and magic swords and whatever. It's
Well, the question is, did y'all actually read Strixhaven? Because I got given a definitely not pirated PDF from 4chan.
Who hates you?
But I was like, you know what? I'm gonna read it, and it was a fucking slog. Oh god, because you can tell game designers didn't write this book. It's like you're like, oh fuck, okay. And they try to do something with it, and it's literally just if you're not part of that particular flavor of person, it's just this is fucking boring. And you would think even anime with Victor brought up Harry Potter. Little Witch Academia hit that Potter note really hard on their anime. Strixhaven fucking just took a big old nasty turd on that entire premise, and they could have done it. I mean, if you read it, the bones are all there. The foundation is there to make a D&D Harry Potter thing, but they just completely fist fucked it to death, and it's just dead. It was dead on arrival. And it sounds mean, it does, but you're I'm sitting there going God damn it, just reading it because you can tell where they have a beat. The beat's right there, and they just fucking slap the bitch down. No beat. And they go right by it. Another beat pops up. They slap it down. No, they refuse to have fun with it. It's basically let's run a Starbucks and make sure the bathrooms are free. It's oh god, it's a slog. It's a fucking slog.
Oh, I love this. I love the rape face artwork where they're all looking at each other with their rape faces.
Well, I'm still getting demonetized.
The one picture they always use is the blue elf and the black dude staring at each other, and then to the left of them is two lesbians looking at each other, and the right is a straight couple doing the fucking Charleston or some shit. And that's what everyone focuses in on immediately. They go around that picture because it's front and center, and it's I get that modern colleges are a vibe, but it's so on the nose. There's a way, if you want to be inclusive, there's a way to do it. I mean, you just can't be so you can't just hammer down.
Be so on the nose.
Yeah, and you just don't make it like this. Look, they're all gay. It's like don't fucking throw glitter in the air when you introduce these characters. It's hey, yeah, he's got a boyfriend, and you breeze on past it. God,
I got some stuff I got to read out here. So, yeah, Patty's Parlor does have it correct. Patty, as always, Dungeon Meshi really does understand old school D&D. It's a nearby dungeon, a mythic underworld, resource drain, and wandering monsters. And resource drain, that's an actual thing. I mean, it's okay, if
a lot of games do it.
If I were to play an old school, let's say White Box with John, and White Box, we are going through the mythical underworld dungeon, and we are killing monsters. At some point, we're going to run out of resources and supplies. So what if, in one crazy way, my fighter or something looks at one of the other characters and goes we just killed a bunch of these fire beetles. Why don't we try to cook and eat one just to see if we can? I mean, what does John say?
In 0E, 4 is on level 3 of the dungeon. So
the what?
There's there's boars on level 3 of the dungeon in 0E in white box.
So imagine like the terror of being so down for the dungeon where it's mostly humanoid. You're like, we could eat that succubus. And like it would turn into a horror game. Like we got to eat, guys. We're out of rations. We did just kill bandits.
We just straight up go Lamentations of the Flame Princess at that point. But
if it was 5th edition, they would just cast like fucking good berries, like 100.
Yeah, just cast good berry. Here you go. No worries. I'll just create water. Like the difficulty of surviving in the modern D&D game is laughable. I'll just summon good berry. It'll both fucking high five and not die. You know that kind of crap.
There you go. There you
Giant
go. Hang on.
Hogs. You can get to focus. Giant hogs, level 3.
And magicians. We could eat the swashbucklers.
That's a big hog.
If it was Lamentations, we would just be eating each other's poo.
Well, we could eat the giant snakes too, possibly.
Plot twist, they're motorcycles. No.
Hang on.
I'm just saying, the 3rd level of the dungeon has pulled pork. So.
Oh yeah. Well, I got super chats. Hang on. Death Dance for Fortnite says, "Wait, did you just say they put a coffee shop in a D&D module?" Yes, they did. The infamous free download from Strixhaven, where yes, everybody in the game plays a barista in a coffee shop, and you have to do things like invent a new drink, clean up the store, do your job efficiently, and all this other stuff.
So yes, one of the challenges you had to overcome was a complicated drink order.
Yes.
And then people were like, "Oh, well, that was just one little thing. It's not going to be like that." Yes, it is. That's
Fire
new
Jolt Cafe. Yeah,
there you go. Mercurius for Australian $2. A small contribution of T-shirt gets demonetized. Thank you very much, sir.
So there's giant hogs on the.
Good to be seeing eye to eye again. Thanks, V. Truly.
Sorry about that. Go ahead.
So there's giant hogs on the 3rd level, but they forgot to mention they're between the orcs' legs.
Oh man, why did you have to?
You know, at first I thought giant hogs would be silly in the dungeon, but then I thought about how terrifying hogs, like wild hogs, are. Wild boar.
They are.
Have you ever
Louisiana
seen
Razorback?
Well, have you seen the movie
Javelinas.
Razorback, the Australian movie about the giant boar that eats people? It's an awesome movie from the 80s. So
Regular boar eat people. Like pigs will just eat people.
Well, dude, it's like over here in Texas, I used to drive the backcountry every once in a while, and you'd see these dead hogs on the road that had been hit by vehicles, and they're massive, man. It's like they're like no joke, big old pigs, and we're not talking about like wild boars. These are just big old pigs, wild pigs, and they're
Why
a
do you need
nuisance.
30 rounds? Puts at the giant boar eating a fucking deer. Oh,
Exactly. It's like when
I remember a story about a woman who got caught between a bunch of feral hogs and her house when she was trying to get out of her car.
She's dead.
Yeah, they ate her.
Yeah, they would. They're no joke, man. They're a pest, but they're deadly to humans.
it's just a pig gets eaten.
Too many people have their idea of the animal kingdom from Disney movies. I'm sure she got out and expected it to do a hula dance or something.
Yeah. I remember Ralt's telling us a story a long time ago about how in his neck of the woods where he used to live, they had wild dog packs that were led like by poodles and shit. And I'm kind of like, poodles?
Poodles are big, not the little tiny ones. We're talking the big ones.
Standard poodle.
Yeah. And that's like, they're like, why do you need 30 rounds? Well, I'm sure the rest of the coyotes will just fight me with the Queensberry rules. I'll just go out there and box him. Doorknob.
Yeah, I mean, we used to laugh about it, me and my friend, because they had a source book for the Aztec Empire way back for 3.0, and in it they had a monster description for Chihuahuas, but it was like number appearing 10 to 100, and at first we were kind of like, can you imagine how terrifying that would be if you're adventurers and you're going through the Mexican desert and all of a sudden it's like 100 Chihuahuas feral show up coming after your ass?
What about giant Chihuahuas?
No, these were just regular sized Chihuahuas.
They call those dogs.
Oh, okay.
Be like gremlins or piranhas.
Yeah.
Well,
But
speaking
giant,
of that, sorry, go ahead, Ben.
No, I was gonna say like giant versions of animals, like dire like animals, have been a thing in D&D since forever. So and a lot of them are fairly dangerous. So yeah.
It's a dire hummingbird. Urgh.
I mean, I'd be scared of that, of like a hummingbird like the size of like an albatross, and it just wants to like, suckle your honey. Or I don't know.
Well, to kind of bring it back to Japan again, because we do keep straying, but we're straying in good ways. John was talking about the mythic underworld for a while now, and what keyed for me was anime, because in more than one anime I have seen where they try to describe why it is that these adventurers have to keep going down into dungeons, and in some cases all the different anime have different explanations for why dungeons occur. In some cases they just naturally spawn and attract monsters for some reason, for unexplained reasons. For others, it's just like there are substances that spawn dungeons, and whoever controls whatever the thing is at the bottom of the dungeon becomes the master of the dungeon, and monsters flock to those areas and have to be taken out because they're a threat to the surrounding communities. And I thought, wow, that fits the mythic underworld theme perfectly. Because it's like, you don't really need an explanation for why these things happen. They just do, because they're like an natural phenomenon, like a constantly occurring magic nightmare type thing.
I think again, if you look at Japanese anime and JRPGs and all that stuff, it feels like the Japanese, they internalized like old school D&D a lot more than we did here in the West. Like, and they actually respect those tropes. They love those tropes. They still use those tropes to these days. Well, we kind of just like, couldn't wait to abandon them. So
the ones I've spoken to about this, it's not a trope to them. That's just the foundation of the lore. Like for us, we call it a trope. For them, it is literally the bedrock in which they build these stories. It's basically the canon in a way.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think what you described though, T-shirt, is kind of like the point I was trying to make, and I've tried to explain it many different ways, but people continually don't seem to understand. It's not that like it's illogical. But it's like what you described. There's obviously like some sort of internal logic to the dungeon in this mythical underworld that makes sense there as to why it works the way it does. But it's just so alien and foreign to us surface dwellers that it's like, I don't know what's happening here. Like, that is perfectly, in my opinion, acceptable and interesting, even if you want to eat the monsters. But
so I want to ask you guys, what is your favorite kind of? We think about dungeons. Me and James did a whole thing on dungeons. But what's your favorite aspect of a dungeon? Because from what from me being back in the '90s till now, I like dungeons. I like the reason, like, why is this fucking thing here full of treasure? And it's why I based my second book series off of like, why is there a fucking ring here? Well, it's bait. So. What's your favorite aspect of a dungeon? What's the one that you like the most? Because with me, I like the bait dungeons. Like they want to eat or need these creatures, so they bait the dungeon out with all these little goodies they've stolen. Like the Emily Bronze series is. They're basically like, why are these rings here? And one thing I made up was there are these beings that think humans are the pinnacle of culinary delight. Well, how do humans come to the dungeon or the bait? Well, you lay out these golden rings and ray guns and shit that they steal from the ether. There's a finder's fee for it, so you go get it. You'll get the payment, but you got to try and get it from these things that want to eat you. So what's y'all's favorite aspect of dungeons? What do y'all like? Knowing that this is a dungeon of this type, I like this the most.
I mean, for me, there's just the appeal of sort of the exploring the unknown. Just to go very simple, just the idea of like, I don't know what's in the next room. I want to know what's there. I want to map it out.
Well, definitely not a water temple for me.
No, I mean like your favorite way of a dungeon being there. Like your favorite way of saying dungeon's here because of this.
I like crypts because I like what are they called? Cairns. Like I like the idea of like, hey, we're going in here, but there's dwellers there, and they're gonna come out of the walls, and they're mad because you're invading, their resting place, and you want their old coins. So there you go.
So you like the graveyard dungeon that's been made and now they're erased. Okay,
I like the crypts. Yeah,
cairns. Yeah,
cairns.
I like the crypts. I like crypts too. I like dungeons that are ran by like some sort of evil like demiurge that is sort of controlling it for whatever reason. You know, you're sort of in this underworld, and maybe you're there because there's more power there, and like there's a wizard there because as he gets closer to hell and this other plane, his magical powers are better. All those rituals work better. His spells work better. All these things work better in this evil mythical place. So I think that's pretty interesting too.
So a power sync dungeon.
Yeah.
Well, I have kind of a similar theme, and I'm kind of giving this away because Grim is in my current game that I'm doing this, but even he doesn't know this is part of what the deal is. But so in my world, the legend is that there was an evil god, millennia ago, who was so horrible that all the other gods actually conspired to get rid of him. So they killed him, but they couldn't absolutely destroy him, so they scattered as many pieces of him as they could all across the land and buried them and hid them away so that he could never be brought back together. The unfortunate thing is, because the evil was so powerful, it created these little cysts in the earth that became dungeons, and unfortunately the evil attracted other evil things to it, and as more creatures flock to these things and people come to these things and die in them, it feeds that power so that eventually, someday, all this dead god's surviving worshippers and things can somehow bring all the pieces back together and rebirth him.
My personal favorite type of dungeon, or reason for the dungeon being, I'm in the Tolkien school, and a lot of Japanese creators believe this too, is the idea of corruption of something that was once good.
Mm-hmm.
The dwarves dug too greedily, dug too deep. That was their kingdom, and now look what it is. But there's many examples of that in temples and shrines and underground places that were resplendent burial tombs filled with gold for the afterlife of warriors that have now been corrupted by evil spirits or magic or something that humans don't understand. That's always the corruptible aspect is probably my favorite for dungeon.
How about you, Rawls?
Smoke break.
Did you go get smoke again? I bet he did.
Like fucking nerds.
Well, you haven't said anything.
What did I miss?
Okay, Rawls.
The front of my house is being painted, so I want to go out and check on it. Sorry, I just walked back in time to hear he went out and have a cigarette. No, I was out there huffing paint like a normal American.
Oh, that's good. That's a good thing. Okay, so Guard Bro, ask your question to Rawls.
So, Rawls, before I go on a tangent for the next half hour about dungeons, what's your favorite kind of dungeon archetype as to how they're made? Not like favorite place, not like a water dungeon or like a graveyard, but your favorite way of a dungeon coming into existence.
Let's have a little admittance. I haven't played as a player in probably 30 years. Actually, no longer.
Tell me about it.
5 years.
Forever DM. You're in good company.
It really depends. I mean, it does. I mean, I don't have a particular favorite. But
you're lying to us, because
no, I don't have a particular favorite. It's whatever, I look at where the players are, what they're planning on doing, what they're taking on. I mean, a lot of it depends on what exactly is going on, which campaign setting we're in. Designing a dungeon for Forgotten Realms is a lot different than Greyhawk, is a lot different than Dragonlance. And if you design a dungeon in Ravenloft, well, that's called a village. So,
I mean, that is true. I mean, there are city dungeons, which I'll get into here in a bit, but there are city, village, town dungeons where it is kind of that's your dungeon.
Oh, Grim wouldn't know anything about that, would you, Whitechester?
I have no idea.
I personally also just like the wilderness as a dungeon. I love when it's just like a cursed valley that you can't escape, and it's just like, creepy woods and stuff. So yeah.
Although running for rifts can be fun because the dungeon is a skyscraper that was knocked down during the coming of the rifts and buried in 80 feet of ash. Yeah. And they got to be careful with their weapons so that they don't, collapse the whole damn thing in on them. And who knows what's down there, because I always go with this as a DM is something you always go with. Old dark places attract old dark things.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're good.
Explains the White House being a dumpster fire of darkness.
Hey, Grim, what about you?
That's not old. I agree with Victor a lot, and I think maybe that's partly a European perspective. The wilderness as dungeon. I mean, way back when most of Britain was forest, and so that looms large in our mythology.
Yeah, exactly.
And so on.
And not so much for Americans when you can walk out the door and be lost in the woods and nobody finds your body.
Yeah. I think it's a bit
Appalachia?
Because we have more history, so I think that.
Okay, European, calm down. All right, no need to get all fucking uppity about your history.
We'll send you to the cornfields. How about that?
Yeah. Enjoy.
I think certain areas of America also have that mythology, like the Appalachians and stuff like that. And you know, all the stuff with the skinwalkers and like that's really popular these days.
Yeah.
Go to the UP.
And we also
Superstition Mountains.
We also have the crypts and the hill forts and, you know, menhirs and Iron Age burial chambers.
Ancient Fey layers.
All that shit everywhere.
Yeah.
I think my favorite kind of dungeon, though, is the prison that's meant to be holding some kind of evil, especially if it's been there for a really long time.
Same as Ares,
forgotten what's there. I think one of the first adventures in the Dragon Warriors books is there's this legend about this devil that lives off in the hill in the forest, but it's actually some sort of malignant fairy entity, and as you approach what's there, he's not a devil, he's something older, but the whole area is surrounded by an iron fence that's supposed to keep the evil contained, because fairies don't like iron. But the fence has been there so long that it's rusting away, and that's the hook for the adventure. And this thing is lurking in there, and nobody really knows what it is anymore. But it's been imprisoned there. So
there you go. Well,
the iron fence around the graveyard is not meant to keep us out; it's meant to keep them in.
Contain.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Well, in that case, I'd probably go with the idea of the mine that's kind of dug into a bunch of like ancient caves. Just this idea of kind of blending of a little bit of civilization into that natural wilderness that's full of that unknown.
Another one I really like is the crypts beneath the city, like the Paris catacombs and catacombs, stuff like that, and transpose that to a fantasy setting where like scary shit actually exists, and maybe there's like sections of sewer that like lead into it. Maybe if it's a modern city, there's like old abandoned subways that are attached to this, and there's like all sorts of stuff you can do.
I ran an AD&D 1E game like that was just a city adventure. It was fun.
Gamma World's another fun one for that.
Yeah, the Abyss Made in Abyss is an interesting sort of natural dungeon with its own.
That is good.
When you mention that anime, you be very careful because some folks aren't aware of the midway of the anime where shit goes fucking off the rails. Maybe a bitch like, oh, it's a cute little D&D thing. You go, oh shit, because then because the writer goes, watch this. It's just like,
I've got a left field one as well, which is I don't know how many other people actually played through the whole Mad Max PlayStation game or console game. But there's a whole section in the buried airport where you're fighting the buzzards, and the buried airport as a dungeon is really interesting.
Somebody said a dungeon that's a corpse that was done in Spelljammer. It was the body of a dead god.
Yeah.
So it's one of those
the inside of a creature is fun too. So
real quick, everyone spoke right about the favorite kind of dungeon, right? Everyone got a chance to talk.
I think so.
Okay. Because I fucking love dungeons. I really do. The reason why I got into this shit, because I fell in love with the concept of the dungeon. And there are dozens and dozens of ways to do a dungeon. But other ways have certain aspects to it. And you have to think about, why are these people going into a dungeon, this place of evil or monsters? Like, why are they going in there? And as well as people think about dungeon as an old mine, But as anime has showed us, some dungeons are literally towers of Babel that go all the way from the sky, layers to them. There are city dungeons. Like, there are dungeons where, whatever causes these dungeons, it creates an entire fucking town and is littered with stuff. But the real question people don't ask themselves why a lot of manga just fucking dies, a lot of animes just die and get boring is why the hell are people going there? What is fueling the desire for these adventuring parties or mercenaries or whatever? How you could go into the dungeons?
Okay, I can answer that one. Now, I mean, I'm not using the Japanese anime answer, but when we had James Raggi on the show, he pretty well answered he answered that question for us because, one of the reasons he gave us for why Lamentations of the Flame Princess exists is because he sees it as a horror game, because why would people be crazy enough to go into these horrible places where they know the chances are they're going to get killed or brutalized or otherwise mangled beyond all recognition in order to get money? And that's a perfect example for why, is because I've always said that adventurers either have to be people with a death wish, or they have to be extremely suicidal, or otherwise be desperate, because the other choice is to work on a farm or, earn a trade and be kind of safe and protected from the outside world by whatever people you're paying to do it. But
I don't know. I'm fine with them also just being thrill seekers. People climb Mount Everest for fun, and there's like a good chance you're just gonna end up a corpse that's gonna just sit there for 40 years that everyone climbs past, and you have green boots, so they call you Green Boots for 40 years. Even in real life, in modern real life, there's examples of people doing very dangerous stuff just for shits and giggles. So
you got skydivers, you got people who fly planes and crash them, you get people who
you've got Navy SEALs.
Something that horrified me beyond belief was yesterday. Troll Lord Games posted up a Twitter, and they were like, the comment was, "Oh, go into the dungeon." They said it'll be easy. They said, and they posted a picture of the guy who basically he died upside down in Nutty Putty Cave.
Nutty Putty Cave, yep. So so cave divers, they go in and dig down to the earth and crawl around just for the fun of it. And there are underwater cave divers who have to bring their own oxygen tanks with them so they don't die. Mm-hmm. Hundreds of people die every year just going, "I'm going to crawl in that fucking cave. You can't stop me." And they crawl inside of it and go, "Oh shit, I'm stuck," and then die.
Yeah. So it's like, this would be fun. Let's crawl into an area that's only 10 inches by 18 inches because there's nothing I think is more exciting.
What's up? It's your boy Driz, just about to delve into this demon pit here. Hit like and subscribe.
I think you also can give reasons though for it. I'll bring it to mythology because I don't have any anime experience, but really, yeah, I'm an older school nerd, I guess. But in the Epic of Gilgamesh with Enkidu, Enkidu, his friend dies, and so Gilgamesh wants to go into the underworld to get his friend back. And it sends him on all of these. He has to go help one goddess to get demons out of a tree and stuff like that. So there's sometimes there's a noble reason to go down there. Yeah. Right,
so a lot of times it can be duty, like a cleric or a paladin. They wouldn't go in there just because they want gold or glory. They're going in there because they know they have to go fight evil, and if they die, then they die. But
yeah. So bring it back to anime. There are anime where it's an act of worship to a god or goddess to go into the dungeon, slay monsters, return with treasures, offer them up to the church. There's whole cities in anime where the whole economy revolves around this ever-changing quasi-spiritual dungeon and what you can nick from it.
Yeah. There's a really hardcore anime that I kind of wish had continued past what it did, but I want to say it was like the Grim Gears or something like that, where you basically, if you're living in the city, it's so hard to earn a living that it basically forces you into going and exploring these dangerous ruins in order to pull stuff out. Grimgar, yeah, that's the one. And that thing is just like, geez. You
earn 3 copper a day, or you can risk your life fighting who knows what in those caves.
Exactly.
And that's by far my favorite reason for a dungeon. There's shit inside there. You're poor and you fucking hate it. Like that's my favorite thing. You could go and farm and make little fucking pity money selling grain, or you can grab that stick and try and make it through the first level and find some little tiny shiny. And I love level dungeons. Oh, I love level dungeons where
me too.
You know, like Dungeon Meshi has levels to it. There's like an inhabited level. But like there are certain like level dungeons are by far my favorite because of the fact that there's still an entry level to it, and it's like little shitty things. Oh, here's a copper ring that allows you to read better, and I'll fetch a nice penny, and you slowly level up. And as well as like there are like the big a lot of anime. There's like the adventurer board. You got like I'll take that job, clear out whatever else, and you grind up and you gain your got like a goblin slayer. They're taking jobs and shit, the big board, and their dungeon is their dungeon is the adventure board. They go, I'll take that one, and it's all for money. The biggest motivator of anything is money because it makes the most sense. Why do you work at McDonald's? You fucking hate it. Well, I need fucking money. That's why you do it.
Gee,
I will just go collect eels. There's like 1 million of them. I can take them home. They're free. The best thing about it is the king doesn't even care.
Being poor sucks.
It does.
And I'm going to say that as someone who's been on TANF and food stamps. It's fucking humiliating, and it sucks.
Imagine if you're like a veteran, like me or anyone who's a veteran. You're like, man, this shit sucks. And someone says, hey, you can earn up to 3 gold per day by going on that fucking old mine and finding stuff. You were like, shit.
Hang on. You got to get in trouble. You're going to get in trouble, man.
Roy got him.
You're doing Terminator voice again.
Why should I throw hay bales for 2 copper?
I can't hear him. I got nothing.
You gotta reconnect. I think.
Is this better?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay. Why should I throw hay bales for 2 copper a week when I can pick up a used sword? Well, I could beat a goblin to death with his sword with this rock and then kill all his buddies.
There you go.
And I'm sorry. Young males have horrible risk reward estimation, and if you doubt that, go down to the recruiting office and watch. People will take the dumbest jobs.
You like Call of Duty, kid?
I've heard people say like it doesn't make sense to just want to go adventure for gold, and then in my hand I'm like, why doesn't it? Like a lot of stuff that we've done throughout human history was literally just to get like riches. People went into the jungles of like South America in like the 16th century just because they were like just based on rumors that there were like golden pyramids there, and they just had like horrible deaths. So yeah.
Well, hell, I mean, it's like well, hang on. There's first off, the gold for XP thing. Yeah, that makes sense when you put it in this context. But the other part of that too is you had actual gold miners in California during the gold rush era who would literally go out in a freezing ass stream all day and try to pan gold just so they could come back with enough money so they could, with enough gold dust or gold flake, hoping for a big score so they could, get money to eat, get money for a girl, and, get money to get drunk all night and just to start all over and do it again in the morning.
And there's a second reason. Fame. You want to be a fucking nobody, or you want to be somebody? A level 4 adventurer, platinum level guild member who's fucking slaying the big boys and getting money. There's money and fame. If you're a famous fucking dungeon delver, you have this cool suit of armor and shit. You're somebody. You're not Joe Schmo, the wheat farmer. You're like biggest Dixis Crexus, the fucking dungeon slayer or some bullshit. There's why do these dumb shits go out and try and drive a shopping cart down the freeway for fame? Is what they want to be somebody, That's the second biggest thing. Like, hey, there's a dungeon over here with this fucking lich inside of it, and there's no other reason to go in this dungeon. Like, well, if I kill them, they'll know I did it right. Well, yeah, like, I want to go fucking try it out then. They want to go and beat. They want to stop being this fucking nobody who lives in this town and it's a barmaid. I want to go kill this lich and be somebody. Be his big name.
There's this
book series. We gotta watch the language. He'll get demonetized.
Oh, okay.
There's this book series. I can't remember what it's called right now. I read it a few years ago. But the concept is literally that these adventurers they do this stuff so they can get the fame, like you said. But they're treated like rock stars, like metal bands, and they will like as a group they will adopt like these names like we're the Wild Stallions, and they will become well known and they will go to towns and people will be like, oh hell it's the Wild Stallions. They cleared out the Blightwoods. They're awesome. And,
I saw that in Goblin Slayer.
Yeah.
But yeah, for Mercurius, for Australian $2, thank you. I think you're like one of the few people who still contributes to be Mercurius, but because it's a job set by the Adventurers Guild. Thank you, man. I appreciate you.
That's where the Goblin Slayer aspect is like. There's a guild guy. There's a job. Like I guess I'll do that job.
I don't know, man. It's there are so many good reasons for why people should go into dungeons. I get irritated. And I mean, we're getting way off topic because, but I do get really irritated when players just kind of sit around at the table and look at me and they're just like, well, what do we do? I mean, like, it's like I tell them, like, you have an entire world here at your disposal. There's everything you can imagine in it. All you got to do is go out there and find something to do, talk to somebody, do anything. And I guarantee you, I'll make something happen.
It's like if you were like you talk to bring it back to the Japanese thing of this isekai thing. Like if you were transported in, like you yourself were there, like what would you do? Like what would you do?
Hide.
Like I tell people all the time, like it's perfectly reasonable to say, oh, I want to go see what's in the woods over there. There might not be anything in the woods, but maybe there is. So. That could easily be turned into a story or find a dungeon, whatever.
If humans didn't have that sense of adventure, we wouldn't have gotten as far as a species that we did.
Yeah,
so,
we wouldn't make RPGs to simulate more adventure.
Yeah.
Like when you even think about it,
actual adventure.
Well, we kind of we're born too late to explore, so we got to create things to explore. Because I think that's part of human nature, really, the desire to go and seek the unknown. Like Elon's making these big rockets, like let's go explore space, and like because we only go in the ocean, and most of the ocean we're like, well, okay, well we can go, we've seen, and we're limited by pressure. We've already discovered all the places on Earth that are land, like what do we do? So right now, more or less, when you think about it, we're running training simulations on how to go be an adventurer still. Like we want to break it down. We are basically training ourselves how to think, what to do, how to perform as an adventurer in case one day we have to do it again. Like imagine like in Isekai where you're like the spaceship Isekai. You're now on a new planet. What do you do? Like how do you perform?
I mean, yeah. And in the case of the settlement game that I'm running with the for Grimm. Those guys literally are shipwrecked and they have nothing. They have no resources whatsoever. So I am making them find everything in order to build anything that they need. There's no store they can go to. There's no friendly farmer growing their food. They're losing people in their settlement because either their stuff's not protected or they're taking risks. And one of the easiest things that they can do is they did find a crypt they can go down into and they can pull stuff out. And some of it actually, they're finding different uses for it. I mean, it's like, when they went down there last, they were like, I described a big giant circular bronze door. And they were like, can we take this door with us? We could use this. This is a whole bunch of bronze. We can do something with this. And it's just like, yeah, you could. Yeah. So I got them, they made their rolls. They took the door off its hinges. They walked out of the dungeon with a big old bronze door. And that's worth more to that party than all the gold that they pulled out, because they can't do shit with the gold. But that bronze door means
we made the gold into a bowl.
Yeah, you made the gold into a bowl. But what are you going to do with the bronze door? You can make weapons out of it. You can make spear points, knives, whatever.
That's how you know you're an adult. You're like, hey, that's a nice door. We're gonna take this door.
Yeah. I mean, why not? Because it just makes sense. I mean,
I've had players do that. I've had players actually steal the door. They're like, why go in the dungeon? The door's covered in gold. Bye.
Well, you go to a dungeon. Is that mahogany, bro? Take that door. Yeah.
The lich wakes up and is like, God damn it, they stole my door again.
They stole every fucking door in this dungeon. 30 doors gone.
I have seen players literally saw apart a jade statue after numbering the part. By the time they were done with this dungeon, they had even gotten the quarried stone out because they were like black marble with red threading. Yeah. Oh, that goes for a fortune. Let's take the whole thing. So I picture the lich waking up and being like, what happened?
Where's all my stuff? Yeah. Stained pine, gone, every door.
Well, I mean, it's like before that, they were, they found the crypt and a bunch of ruins and stuff like that. So the first thing they just started doing was stealing all the stone from the ruins to use to shore up their settlement. I was like, that's a good idea. Because,
I
hate it, but good idea.
I had another set of players do the ultimate on me. They couldn't get past a certain area because of the traps. So they're like, how deep is the dungeon into the rock and dirt? I'm like, I don't know, like 20 feet. And they're like, well, this dwarven clan owes us a lot of favors. So they dug all the dirt out from under the dungeon and started hacking their way through the walls.
Exactly.
I'm tired of this, Grandpa. It's too dang bad. You keep digging.
I was like, I hate you all so much.
I'm a jerk though, because in old school D&D, like gold for XP represents like going through danger and going through adventure to get this treasure. So if the players bypass all the danger like that, it's like, yeah, you can do it, but sorry, you're not getting any XP. You're just getting the gold, but it's not worth any XP. So
they didn't care about the XP. And the worst part is I posted it on N-World, and Gary Gygax used to post there, and he said that was the funniest shit he'd ever read.
I believe it.
The world's most dangerous dungeon, the global market.
Well, to answer Garborough's question about you land on a new planet and what do you do when you get there? Mm-hmm. Well, you act like a Prometheus scientist and you smoke weed inside your spacesuit and then you pet the alien.
Yeah. Those are the dumbest people ever.
You say I can't curse. You post that? I see how it is. All right.
I literally have a holographic map I made, but I'm lost. Oh, I see we brought the butter bar.
Oh yeah,
butter bar.
Who brought the officer? Help me! I'm starving to death.
Great. Now we're all gonna die. Oh look, he has a compass, a map, and a plan. We're gonna die.
This is the dumbass who wears his rank bars out in the bush because he didn't know they made him sniper meat.
Sir, your rank's on upside down. We're gonna die. Just no. It's like the officer litmus test. Sir, no, it's not. Okay, we might be fine.
that would actually be a fun premise for an adventure too. Actually, it's like you're part of a not an adventuring group so much, but like a soldier party. You go out into the wilderness and your commanding officer is like a complete jerk off who doesn't know his ass from his elbow and ends up getting everybody lost in like horrible, kobold infested territory. And now you got to fight your way back. And it turns into,
the quintessential British military experience until halfway through World War II.
Bill the officer.
Kobolds to Welsh, same difference.
No,
you can
dwarf the Welsh.
I've done that in Rifts and in Twilight 2000. The officer totally knows what's going on. They get all the way out to the middle of the adventure, and you kill the officer NPC, and the player's like, it's like, welcome to the Nom.
Dare I say based?
I told you you'd get along with Rawls.
Why is Fortunate Son playing from the trees?
Oh God! So I mean, bringing it back to JRPGs and stuff, it's just like, I think it's neat because they did bring something to role playing that we didn't necessarily have before. I mean, or if we did, we didn't think about it quite as much. And I think it's kind of neat that, this current crop of anime that's out there is starting to influence, dungeons and the way we play them and modern gaming. And I know some people say, like, oh, modern gaming is just, but there's still stuff that you can add into it. I mean, like why don't I, after this thing is over with, I could sit there and build a bunch of rules for what monsters taste like, and what stuff you can harvest off of them, and what they sell for, and what the good effects are, and then I make it
Monster Hunter
white box compatible or Maquahuitl compatible.
Well, like I said,
people would buy it.
Yeah,
I bet they would.
Well, like I said, though, a lot of the stuff is like circular because those JRPGs and those animes, they were inspired by old school D&D, and there's stuff that we've just forgotten and we've moved past, but they haven't, and they just gave their own twist to it. And now we like new people are seeing that Japanese stuff, and it's like, oh, that's like really cool. I'm gonna put that in my dungeon. It's like, well, Gygax put that in his dungeon like 40 years ago. He just wasn't Japanese about it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not full of hot Japanese girls, so no one wanted it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like I picked up the Player's Companion for Shadow Dark, which is written by one of our friends, Chubby Funster, and it's got a full set of rules and stuff for ingredients like plants and things that you can use to hasten how fast you can cast spells if you use them. And I said, man, that's a cool idea. Now you're going to have players walking through and actively looking through all the fauna or the florals and the fauna, trying to pick certain types of plants and stuff, because now that it's useful in their spell casting. It's not
great.
It's not quite to the level of having spell components, which I mean, I don't know. I have mixed feelings on that, but it's still
that's all we need, though. Subclass amphetamine mage.
I love having weird components to cast spells and do weird stuff. There's this book that I really love, and it's about Al-Hazad, whatever you pronounce that name. There's the writer of the Necronomicon, basically, and it's about his early life. And at one point, he stumbles across a cave in the Empty Quarter, the Sahara, and he finds like these weird, like albino, like cave spiders, and he's hungry, so he eats one, and all of a sudden he has night vision. So he's like, oh shit, like these things give me night vision when I eat them. So he like gathers like a whole bunch of them. He kind of like dries them out, and throughout the whole adventure, he's like, he's got like this sack of like these weird magical spiders that whenever he eats them, you can see in the dark. Or if he eats too much, he gets poisoned and stuff. So I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that is cool stuff. That is great stuff to add. It adds flavor, like literally speaking, to the game, but it gives your players stuff to do besides just, hack up monsters and stuff.
I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but that's just basic consumables. You think about it.
Well, it is, but it's still cool.
I'm the first one to do a supplement like that, where one of the potential things they could discover is like cocaine.
Well, I mean,
they could probably make that.
The process for making cocaine. Not that I would know very much about it because I've never made it or anything, but I've studied some books and watched some movies. It does require quite a chemical process to make that happen.
I actually have an idea for
conforming to racial stereotypes.
Victor just trying.
Let me.
No worries. I actually have an idea for an adventure/campaign kind of based on Maquahuitl, but with my modern nonsense thrown in, where it is literally about magical cocaine that's cursed by an Aztec god. So, yeah.
Jesus, are you serious?
Yeah, and it's a cartel that's like selling this stuff, and then, people start doing some Sicario type stuff with like a secret team that goes in to deal with it, and then they find out, oh shit, there's actually more behind this. Actually, weird Aztec stuff behind this.
Oh, holy shit, this will be like Breaking Bad Maquahuitl edition.
Yeah, basically.
Slim for me, have to cook.
Say my name.
I'll pay you $10 if the main bad guy is an evil summon and he says, hey, say hello to my little fiend.
Oh my gosh. I'm glad I got this group together. You guys are great.
Not on topic, but great.
we're very off topic, but still, I still think, when we do hit it, we're still good. And there's still a lot to explore with it. Because, there's always new anime coming out. There's a lot of different anime that we haven't even looked at as to what it can bring to the games.
Such as what?
Well, like, for example, Grim and I, we played Lone Wolf Fists a couple weeks back. And that is pretty much part and parcel Fist of the North Star, without the with the serial numbers filed off. And then our other friend Alex T from Spain created Sacrifice, which is Iron and Incense, and that is Berserk with the serial numbers filed off. And that's a cool game. That is a cool game. I would love to play that with someone.
There's a bit of an issue I saw actually on X about derivative or inspired. Apparently, there's a lot of fighting over is it a derivative or is it inspired by a certain thing?
I would say derivative, but
because
or
a lot of us here make RPG games. So, like, are you stealing or is it inspired?
And both. Yeah, Tabletop Junkie reminds me of the anime that really kind of got me moving in this direction, which is definitely Goblin Slayer. Yeah, because who has, I don't know how many of you guys have watched Goblin Slayer, but Goblin Slayer is the anime where it was kind of like they took something that people just overlooked as just a crummy little cheap one-hit dice monster, and they made that monster into something that was a credible threat and a big danger even to high-level parties, and they explored that particular monster in so many different ways that I'll never be able to look at goblins the same way again. In fact, some of the elements that anime brought out for goblins really gave them a reputation for ape.
Yeah, on Roll44,
and how they reproduce.
So my favorite part of Goblin Slayer is that actually it doesn't just show the only threat as goblins. It shows it's a better read than anime. I'll tell you that much. And there's a part where it's this giant cave worm thing that just bisects some chick. It shows that everything is dangerous in its own way in a dungeon.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Tucker's Kobolds.
Yeah, I was
Tucker's Kobolds. Yeah,
it's basically Tucker's Kobolds, the anime, but they changed kobolds to goblins.
Yeah.
Nick Beardia has asked if the real talk, is there an anime to LGBTQ plus pipeline? Are you asking if there's
only if you watch Yaoi?
If there's like a intermediate step?
I mean, Monster Girls, maybe?
That would be the furry fandom.
The problem is anime is too based for that particular culture because they won't kowtow to certain party lines. And it's honestly there was a like fucking t-shirt. There's been a lot of problems with that particular faction of people in anime. There was a huge kerfuffle. What the last 3 years? T-shirt.
What do you mean?
But between the culture war, blue hairs in anime, how anime is problematic, yada yada. But the last 4 years have been that way, man.
The localizers.
Yeah.
Localizers.
We've already seen a lot of that. But the guard, you're kind of forgetting the fact that those types have always kind of been there. The Fujoshins.
Oh, I know. But they never asked.
But they have been militant.
Well, those guys never asked anime as a whole to change. They simply stuck to their subsect of anime and said, "Y'all do your own thing." For the most part, there are some other things out there about anime, but anime for the most part, the sub factions of who are fans of manga and anime, they all stick to their own shtick. They don't try and they don't try and mess with anything else. If they're the Yuri fans, read their Yuri, yada yada. They don't really mess with everyone else. But the Americans they're a bit different now.
Yeah, they are trying to localize everything with their politics and stuff like that, and changing messages and stuff. Which is why I only watch anime in original Japanese with subtitles, because I'm not going to lie and say, oh yeah, I totally speak Japanese, but I do understand enough of the language and the context to get what is being said 90% of the time. So if there's a mistranslation, I can usually pick up on it pretty damn quick. But anyway, for Mercurius, we have Australian $5. Man, thank you. Says, say my name. And you can't pronounce the Aztec word. What, Macuahuitl? Am I saying that right?
Yeah, that's one way to say it. Sometimes so I've heard people pronounce it with the L kind of being like a hard kind of stop. So it'd be like Mucklheat.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah.
you go. Okay.
I'm not going to police either one way or another.
That's not your job, eh?
No.
But Gobbo left. But I think that whole kind of like that infighting in anime and all the other subcultures and stuff. I think that's kind of a consequence of like the public square social media. Because it used to be that, you know, the internet was basically just like weird forums and people in like chat rooms and, you know, on AOL messenger boards and like whatever. And you would just talk about your own little specific niche and nobody else would bother you. And I think we kind of lost that. So
I also think it's a consequence of the Western popularity of anime and manga, because it's like the only growth area in book sales to young people, and comics, it completely dominates comics. So there's a lot of Western companies investing in anime and manga, which is great because it's a shot in the arm to the Japanese industry, but it's bad because they bring a lot of their demands for change and so on into it.
And ironically, when they make those changes, it doesn't become as popular because they take out what
Yeah, and that's why people don't like the localizing either, because they take out. It's like, well, we have to like make this for Western audiences, but I'm watching it because I like that it's Japanese. I don't want it westernized.
I'm tired of what the Western anime feeds what Western cartoons feed me, because it's all complete crap.
Yeah.
Well, that's something I find fascinating as a game designer, right? So there's a lot of Western companies producing anime-style tabletop games, right? They all take a very sort of fast and loose, improvisational, not exactly narrative, but, you know, that sort of high storytelling, loose rules sort of approach. Whereas all the Japanese RPGs, you know, the actually sort of native produced ones that a lot of this anime and so on comes out of, they're very rules heavy. Even if the rules aren't complicated, they have a lot of rules or very strict procedures on how you're supposed to do things. And that seems very weird because in play, it doesn't produce what you see in the anime and so on. So it's a weird cultural divide there.
Oh, and we got a super chat that I know I'm opening a can on this one, but it is a super chat. So
are you sure you want to? Are you sure you want? Because
well, just modify your language a little bit, because I heard your rant. I heard your rant before the stream started, so I already know what your stance is, and I think it's the same stance that we all hold. I really want to hear what Raltz has to say about it, but okay, so, let me read this. Wait. Death's Dancer for $4.99 says, here's one that Guard's going to laugh at. Opinions on wheelchairs in D&D. And I want Raltz first.
Which one's going to have the more heated opinion?
Hey, is your name Raltz? Oh,
hey, get the fuck away from my table and baby, get my shotgun, because I'm going to put this guy in a wheelchair. I hate him. I absolutely hate him. Number one, I've been in a wheelchair. I'm old enough I'm gonna have to, and I've got my legs are badly damaged enough I have to use them, but like Walmart, they're not fun. I don't want to play games and be in a damn wheelchair. Okay, I used to be a freaking marathon runner, and now I'm in a wheelchair. It's fucking humiliating. Stop. It's not an accessory. It's not a decoration. It doesn't make you quirky. Okay. The other thing is the wheelchairs they show are highly technological advanced. These drooling, mouth-breathing retards don't understand what a big deal it is to be able to continue to cast bearings. Do you know how much of a technological advantage bearings and bearings casings are? No, because you have the intellect and research skills of a toddler with a head wound. All right? Spokes. Do you know why spokes are so damn big on wagons? Because they didn't have the materials and the engineering to be able to do the thin wire spokes you see now. That is an engineering marvel. And the frames of modern wheelchairs are made with tubular aluminum.
Tubular steel.
That's because of the space program. Tubular aluminum didn't exist before the 1960s. You're not going to build this stupid wheelchair out of wood, dreams, purple hair dye, and retardation. Take your wheelchair and drive it up your own ass. If you bring it to my table, I'm going to put you in one. And that is the abridged rant.
I love it.
Yeah. There you go.
And the thing is, roughly 1 million players agree. So So my post has 1.4 million views and about over 1,000 comments on it, 800 retweets, 40,000 likes. So I want to say 14. I want to say on the like count, 14,000 players, DMs, yada, agree with this stance. There's a lot of work in a people don't, because it seems so common. Oh, just go get in a wheelchair, but it's not a common. A wheelchair is a scientific, technological marvel when you really think about it. Like as he said, tubular steel. And I guess to the college graduate who's out of Columbia, like, oh, it's just tubular aluminum, but it's a very difficult thing to make and not modeled. And just
there was a time.
You want to know what the highest consumer of electricity is in any industrialized country?
Aluminum production
foundries.
Yep.
Do you know what it takes to get aluminum out of rock? Either you've got a bunch of blue dragons or wizards chained up, or you don't have it. The Washington Monument is capped with aluminum because it was more valuable than gold at the time.
That's what I was going to mention that. Yep. I was going to mention that. Yeah. The Washington Monument's capped in aluminum because, it was super duper valuable back then.
It requires electricity to so for the book, I had to Google it, and there are two processes. And one is you literally shock the fuck out of it, shock the hell out of it. And you get the aluminum out, and it's not easy. You need like a space wizard going on this ore to get the aluminum out.
But I don't even want to talk about what it takes to engineer a wheelchair, because that's giving the argument too much like thoughts and energy and benefit. Like I cut it off way before that. It's like, yeah, no, you're not gonna be going upstairs and sword fighting in a wheelchair. Plus, it's just virtue signaling like nonsense. So I'm not even gonna give you any like attention on that. Like no wheelchairs on D&D. Sorry.
Like, let's not forget the most important. What I think is the other most important aspect of this. Like you could do anything in a fantasy setting with the idea of a wheelchair, and you choose the basic bitch fucking wheelchair. No, come on. I want some gnomes making like mechanical spider leg things that can just crawl up walls and do like some fun stuff. Like, basic boring? No, be fun. That's boring basic bitch stuff. No.
I refuse to believe that the type of player who is actually in a wheelchair and wants to like be represented somehow as a person in a wheelchair and wants to play a person in a wheelchair. I refuse to believe that person exists on any sort of like wide enough level that this is like a thing that's needed.
I just had an idea. Oh my god! I just had an idea. It's like okay. So here's a plausibility for you. If you have a character that's crippled like that. And you don't have the resources to make a wheelchair, just have them cast levitation and then like tie a string to him and have everyone just carry him along like a fucking balloon.
Yeah.
Well, there's that. There's mage hand. There's telekinesis. I mean, there's tons of ways to do it. But have y'all looked at the stats? Like, I'm sorry to derail again, T-shirt. Have y'all seen the stats of the wheelchair? How it's
Yeah.
Well, it moves telekinetically. There's no downsides. You cannot be knocked prone.
Yeah.
Weird.
There's only upsides, actually.
Yeah, Grim and I went through, though. I think so did Ironcast. We went through that list of the different things that the wheelchairs could do, and we were just kind of like, damn, how come everybody doesn't run around in these things? Because they're so powerful. It's like, if they can make people who have, disabilities with their legs this powerful, you could outfit whole armies with these things and just, win wars.
They never look at how much these wheelchairs would change the entire world. I mean, you can drag a cart behind them. So now my adventurers don't need to go into the dungeon. They get these wheelchairs. They tie carts to them. They load the carts up with like strawberries or oysters that are going to spoil like instantly, and haul ass at 50 miles an hour, levitating with the cargo levitating, so none of it's bruised, and driving 300 miles inland and selling the strawberries for like a gold piece a piece.
What we're seeing is third generation dungeon diving. Wheelchair.
Mercury has rules for that.
They sound like shitty backs.
Actually, he's got a point. They are kind of like really dookie. Okay, I can't curse, but y'all can. They sound like they sound like just really bad neck.
Oh no! I was gonna go pull up the profile picture, and I found a new piece of art tied into the actual thing.
What is it?
Oh no! You found one, didn't you?
Yes.
Oh my god! Wow.
Hold on. As a member of 10th Mountain, I'm going, what? So
Wow.
Hold on. He's looking.
I'm having a
Hold
stroke.
on. He's looking up. Is he ascending?
Yes, he's climbing up a tower.
He's climbing up a tower.
Okay, hold
How
on.
is he doing that? Because
As a-
going to be
As a mountaineer of 10th Mountain 4th Brigade, how is he ascending up this? So
that's not even a good descent rig. That's the kind of shit you make out of 550 cord when you're absolutely 3 bottles into wild turkey.
That's a great figure for descending, but how is he ascending with that? Like, did no one Google like how like what an ascender is? It's not that. That is a belay device. That is a
God, bro, you don't get it, right? There's dragons in the setting, and you can't imagine a wheelchair going.
Yeah, that's right.
Clearly, you're not very imaginative if you can't figure it out.
That's
rapid. That's rapid.
Wait.
Assembly at the end.
Is that a modern bandolier?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
just I'm looking at it, and that's a great way to belay down, but you're not going to ascend with that shit. I mean,
It's just like the longer you look at it, the worse it gets.
And look at
Like,
the modern design of the wheel. Look at this modern wheel design.
The hoops.
this is actually boggling my brain. Like,
why couldn't they just use this magical technology to give him like wooden robot legs?
Yeah.
And I'm going to point out something all of you are going to miss.
Uh-oh.
I used to live on the coast, a very storm-prone area of Washington State. Do you see that lantern?
Uh-huh.
That lantern is extremely technical and extremely precision required. No drunken orcish blacksmith reciting prayers and using his dick to make it is going to build that lamp. That lamp is a precision instrument, and the heat all goes up. He's about to light it. It is about to light itself on fire.
Good.
but here's what I don't get. Like, the world is full of information. The world is full of diagrams, schematics, manuals, and they chose to do a simple circle, kind of ham rig belay device as an ascender. That's what really boggles my brain here. Is what you have all this information you can use, and you choose to just try and ham fist your way into it. Like, what's pulling them upwards? Who's on belay?
It's all just virtue signaling, and I refuse to humor that. So I don't even really want to think too much about the.
Well, they show videos. They show videos of guys doing wall climbing with their chair attached to them and don't realize that's a carbon fiber chair that weighs 6 pounds.
Yeah,
Actually,
that's my thing.
So here's
Well,
here's why it's lazy, because again, I used to do this stuff. Is he tied to the chair, and how is his spot like? So his butt, if he's tied to the chair and the rig's tied to himself, he's taking up all the weight of his backpack, that lantern, the chair, off his body. And we didn't ascend or descend with our rucks. We would either hoist it up or throw that shit down and then go down, because the weight on his body is astronomical with that kind of rig setup, and it's pulling on. That's
one-handed.
Vertically.
He's one-handed. Yeah.
Vertically.
It's just this is mind-boggling. Like, I didn't know this picture even existed. This is new to me, and it is mind-boggling as someone who's bounced off a wall doing this stuff and like gone head first and done like front descensions. Like,
explain some things.
And the wheels aren't touching. If you look, the wheels aren't touching the wall. The wheels are not touching the wall.
So he's hanging. He is hanging and ascending by some way. And if he's ascending with this, then why can't whoever's pulling him up just magic his ass upwards? Like, I don't understand.
I think it exemplifies the bit that I really don't get about all this, which is, okay, you want to play in my game as a character in a wheelchair, fine. Over all my protests, you can, but you don't want it to have any disadvantage or impact on your character whatsoever. Exactly. You want to be able to climb vertically up a tower. You want to be able to negotiate stairs. Yeah, all of this stuff. Well, but then what is the point of your character being in a wheelchair if it has no meaningful material impact on your character?
Yeah,
within
just
the
have
setting.
normal working legs then.
Yeah.
Well, if you want to have a lot of fun, what you do is when they say they're wheelchair, you just go just like this. Do you think I'm stupid? And am I a fucking joke to you? Is my disability a fucking joke to you? They'll disconnect right there. They'll disconnect right there.
So Ralts, so on that Facebook group that I was in, where it's all started, these people are talking. They're talking down to other people in wheelchairs.
Of course they are.
Mind-boggling. You have these libbies, if you will, talking down and trying to explain to people who are in wheelchairs why they're stupid and don't understand. And it is fascinating watching this happen. Like it truly is. From like it's mean, it's hurtful, and it's just honestly disgusting. But it's also fascinating watching them go, actually, you're stupid. Fuck you. Like it's crazy how they'll just completely hand wave and go, actually, wheelchair bound person, you don't know anything. And it's just like and like they're saying this on their Facebook page with their name attached to it. It's like, what? It's just crazy.
There's more.
Yeah.
No, there's not. You
just kill me.
You shut your waifu looking mouth. There's not more. Hold
up. This is a 68-page document.
Oh no.
I'm going to shut my door for this.
But to kind of answer Grim, the reason is that they want to have the wheelchair, but they don't want to have any of the disadvantages, is because modern representation culture is about very like surface level traits. It's not about anything really deeper than.
Oh God, there's more. Oh no! Oh no!
Yeah, that's just patronizing and insulting.
It is.
It is patronizing. Yeah,
plenty of us here have got disabilities of one kind or another.
Yeah, I'm Dutch.
We all find it pretty patronizing and horrible, don't we?
I've got webbed toes. I'm Dutch.
Yeah. Well, that's just part of being Dutch, because swimming. Like before we turned half the land into the ocean, we just had to live in it. Yeah.
Fucking swamp Germans.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, There's more guys.
No.
Do you want to see the mech?
Oh no.
I think I might have to bounce soon here. Oh my god.
Why are the wheels still there?
What is this?
It's a transformer.
Why is there a gun on it?
Dungeon divers roll out.
Why is there a gun next to her head?
I want to hate crime. I want to hate crime. Everybody involved with this.
She wants to hear her own ears ring.
It really is hard watching folks who don't know anything about anything try and create something. She's gonna go blind and deaf with one burst. Just fucking blind. What? Who let the DEI elf cook?
This mech has Heelys. This mech has Heelys.
Yeah.
Use your mech Heelys to escape your elf feelies.
I think that is a 30 millimeter rotating chain gun around a 30 millimeter sustained cannon. She's gonna pull the trigger, and that whole thing's gonna come apart.
So
she's gonna fly backwards about 100 feet.
Worst part is now if you're military like me and Rouse and else, you know this, but that's a very short barrel on that 20 or 30 millimeter. The fireball is going to cook her face. It's just going to blacken everything.
Well, she's deaf too, to add to her list of disabilities.
That heightened the experience.
So
this is D&D. It's probably black powder. So
they made a 30 millimeter SBR rotary gun. It's not like
she built it because she has chronic fatigue and chronic pain.
Yeah,
fatiguing. Around the page there. Fatiguing aura.
I'm so tired.
Fatigue.
Now, this is going to link into what T-shirt's whole theme is. The Japanese wouldn't do this.
No, they wouldn't.
They have intelligence for one, and they'll do research. They go, what kind of cannon work on mech? And they're going to look in towards all the General Electric made rotary guns, and they're going to go, okay, this would work at this length. It's got to go here or here.
I want to hate crime that. I want to hate crime that elf. I want to hate crimer with their own.
Why is there a drum?
let me guess though. This probably made like 600,000 on Kickstarter.
No way. What's powering
this is
the
free.
snare drum?
Oh,
This is free.
It costs too much to generate the pixels. Okay.
You know what? I thought I didn't have good art in my book, and I feel so much better now. My God.
Hold on a second. Why is this person in a wheelchair? They're lifting their leg up.
Yeah.
Good point.
See, you don't have to be actually.
They're lazy.
In a wheelchair all the time.
Oh, no. He has a pretty good solid point. Her leg can move. Why is she in a wheelchair? That's actually that is a smoking gun.
This is actually a big thing around disabled representation people at the moment. It's like that person got out of the wheelchair. Obviously, they don't need it, but some people only need it.
That is mocking. That is mockery.
I don't have to use a wheelchair unless I'm going to be on my feet for longer than an hour, and or a half hour, or if I have to walk any significant distance. Thank you, lightning bolt. But I can lift my legs up. But you look at me and you're like, yeah, that dude, that dude's fine in a wheelchair. I'm not over there with a saxophone, a tap drum, and doing the can and looking like the world's most gayest growl.
This only makes sense if initiative order is determined by the progressive stack.
Dritz Duorden would hate crime this bitch. Can you imagine House Bayern catching this chick? They wouldn't even sacrifice her alone. They just hook her down the chasm and then throw her chair after her.
How are these little wheels in the front going to work in the dungeon too? Like that's going to be hot.
Actually, they have no idea how a wheelchair works.
It's like she stole John off Stuart Little's motorcycle, dude. So tiny.
Oh God,
John, I think it's time for you to do a redesign.
Oh God, look at the back. Look at the back strut. Look at the rear strut. This thing is a non-Euclidean wheelchair.
It is. It goes straight to the chair. Yeah.
There's no wheelchair.
This was not designed with depth perception in mind. I mean, you don't get the full frame of the wheelchair. You only get the one side. They did not account for the other side of the chair.
No, they didn't. They didn't because there's no bottom section. There's no rear section. Oh my God, it's a non-Euclidean wheelchair. Oh no! Wait! I get
Euclidean wheelchair.
It's all underneath her. It's all on one.
You have a non-Euclidean wheelchair being driven by a purple tiefling who clearly can use her legs. This is the epitome of modern D&D.
Honey, bring me my drill with the skull bit, please.
But again, T-shirt. Me and you both. Everyone here knows the Japanese wouldn't. They wouldn't do this. No, if they did, it'd be completely logical.
Now
this is pure Americana, right?
Well, this is the one in the back of the Japanese anime that gets stepped on by the giant robot because fuck fully drawing her.
Yeah. They did actually. There was a Japanese anime out there called Rojin Z, which it's a social comment on the aging population in Japan, and it's kind of an older anime now. But the movie was about an old man who was confined to a hospital bed, and the hospital bed is like this super duper mech that is supposed to be able to handle all of his life support and needs and everything else, but they built it on a military framework. Like they repurposed a military framework device and they installed an AI of his dead wife into it. So you can imagine this hospital bed has, guns, and it's trooping around and, trying to save his life, and it's cooing to him in his wife's voice. It's like, it'll be all right, darling, while it's blowing the shit out of all these military guys.
I want to hurt Ironcaster right now. Like, I want to bring my hand back and just slap Ironcaster for putting this fucking visitor in my face.
Oh my gosh.
What is this?
That you want a glass wheelchair?
It's a squid person.
They have no idea about tensile strength, do they?
No.
I mean, you ever notice they put the slanted wheels on and they have no idea what the slanted wheels are actually there for? They have no idea why they're there. Those slanted wheelchairs are incredibly tough to use. They're hard to use. They're difficult.
So we're all game designers here mostly. If not, we're very well versed in how games work. We have here allegedly a glass curving tank wheelchair, and that's already so many problems.
Does this thing's tentacles not work? I don't understand.
If you smoke a bong, you know what's wrong with this.
but also say he has a substance that's strong enough to allow this. How heavy would that wheelchair be?
Judging by the water and the glass, we'll say it's room glass. We're saying that wheelchair weighs with water in excess of
at least 200 pounds.
At least 200 pounds.
Minimum 200.
Minimum.
And also, why is there water? He can clearly breathe outside the damn thing. Like, why? Just moisturize yourself.
Your tentacles moist.
Is this what he drives when he goes hunting schoolgirls?
I don't know. Bring it back to Japanese anime, but in such a
level
terrible
1
way.
dungeons, all the first floor, all the levels stay the exact same. Hey, here we go.
This guy rolls
although you get Japanese schoolgirls. I mean,
this guy rolls into the dungeon and all the female goblins go running.
Jesus.
So, but just this kind of thing, it makes me sad. It really does, because they're doing it just to make a concept. I get that, but it doesn't.
No,
and
you know why they're doing it?
No. The thing is, you'll point out realism, you can just suspend your realism. Like you can suspend what a girl is in real life, bro. Like it's always the suspension of things, and this is like the epitome of this kind of thing. Well, don't just be so serious, bro. Just let it happen. Like I don't want to let this happen. This is an atrocity.
Well, do you actually know why they're doing this and why they're pushing this so hard?
Tell me, Ralph. Tell me.
Because they hate you. That's it. That's the whole reason. That's all they're doing it is because they're like, oh, it upsets them. He.
True.
That's all. That's it. That's the only reason they're doing it. That's why if you're disabled and go, hey, I find this shit kind of offensive. No, you're the problem.
No, you gotta be a tiefling and like it.
This is the other guy I want to beat up. I want to find this guy in an alley and beat his ass.
That is a basketball player wheelchair. They're not designed to be used outside of sports.
But look at what it's made with.
Wood.
Completely made out of wood.
You can't do that with wood.
What's he gonna do if one of them gets behind him or even to his side or like all this stuff? Like, is he
there's
gonna
another
twirl on like one
fireball.
There's another picture.
There's a dagger on the wheels. Actually,
there's another picture of him dual wielding from that chair
on a ship, which is what
on
my
a ship.
post was. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the best part is if you find the picture next to this wheelchair is like the grate for like the storage area. Like that wheel will go right inside that grate, get stuck, dude. Just clunk. Oh no! And then hey, you get stabbed to death by all the other pirates.
Yeah,
like
you're gonna need to escape every turn, or you roll over your own tail.
Don't get me wrong. I get when they say it's fantasy, you can suspend reality, but there is a limit. There's always a limit. Yeah, there you go. See the holes in those. So I know that it's a world of magic and dragons that are in dungeons, but there is a limit to how much belief you can suspend.
And of course, he has the facial hair of a guy who gives blowjobs behind an Arby's. Do they not realize that these things tip backwards easy as hell?
Yeah, they do.
Hold on. Now, is that from a personal experience? You've seen someone like getting that cheddar sauce behind an Arby's, or like?
Dude, I
just want to buy a big Montana, please. I'm so hungry.
I lived in Washington and Oregon. You go to Arby's, you're driving through the drive-thru, you look over and you're like, oh God, not the homeless weirdos again.
Can you do me a favor to cover your dick in Arby's sauce? Thanks.
Yeah. It's like,
hey, what would you do for a curly fry?
I'll run you over with a truck.
Here's what kind of cracks up probably me and Routes though. Like Routes, look at the front wheels. They're always those little tiny, goofy, concrete tile, modern surface front wheels. If you are going to do a wheelchair like this, it's going to be big, beefy front wheels. It's going to be a large radius. So I don't know if they're just like I don't know if they're just stupid or just unimaginative. Like I don't understand how they can't get that concept behind.
Well, shopping carts work.
Even they know they can't take this too far, though, the suspension of disbelief. Because if you notice, all the wheelchair characters, they only ever have like no use of their legs. They can still use their upper body and sword fight and stuff. You never see a character, or they never ask for a character that is like a complete like paraplegic, like Christopher Reeves, where like you're just like strapped into a chair and you can only like do like this and talk to a straw. Like they never have a character like that. So even they know they can't take it too far.
Roll for initiative.
I got to roll ready as Viper so my soul won't leave my eyes anymore. I got to keep some of that shit inside. But it's just, but like, I get as a game designer, as a book writer, as a creative, I get what they're trying to do, but they're just too stupid to do it. And then they cope by saying we're too stupid to understand what they are doing. But it's just
Well, I'm going to say one thing from an engineering standpoint. As big as those wheels are, that means the axle on the wheel is the size of a pencil, and you're dealing with wood. Meaning, as soon as he sat down, it snapped.
No, it was made with an ironwood spell by a druid.
Yeah, well, and I get that. I get that you can say that you can use metric to strengthen it, but like even then, like his legs would have to be strapped in. Like his little his little danglers got to be strapped in, so don't get. If you do a hard turn and your like bone piece comes flying out and gets in the way, you can stab yourself. And the other thing is like in combat, the enemy can just grab your little dangle leg and rip you out of that damn chair. Like there's so many. What is that?
Yeah. That is
it's doing an oil slick like a James Bond character.
That is
my friends what we call wacky races.
This is when you realize what's happening to you.
God, so come back!
And you burst into flame.
It's a system that's hooked up to the colostomy bag, so it's.
Oh my gosh!
Oh my god!
John, did you need to go?
Yeah, I gotta go. I gotta.
I'm sorry, John. Yeah.
Okay.
T-shirt. Do you remember when I said we needed to gatekeep these people harder, and everybody told me no, we didn't? I'm vindicated.
Yes, you are.
Oh God.
Yeah. Yes, Death's Dancer. That wheelchair is got an oil slick because
James Bond car.
Yeah, because
they realize oil's flammable, right?
They played Spy Hunter,
and I'm lighting that dude on fire.
Why are the wheels in the back? It's just gonna tip forward and they're gonna face plant.
You're not supposed to notice that once again it's a non-Euclidean wheelchair.
Yeah, look at here. Are those smaller wheels in the back? Yes, there are.
Oh my god!
I gotta go.
6
Though.
wheels.
I gotta go hang out with my wife and kid. But
okay,
now we know it's a lie.
No,
just catch us on the replay, man. Because
I give you one last one before you head out, John.
Okay. Okay. Oh
no! No.
Well, that one doesn't even make sense because when druids, when they wild shape, they heal. They heal all the
what?
Yeah.
This is a fetish by this point.
Yes.
It's a activist fetish.
Yeah.
Guard bro's over there hanging himself.
I think the underlying serious point, and there is one, is that you can have this stuff, but it's got to take one look internally, right? It's got to make sense in the game world. It's got to hang together, and this shit doesn't.
But my dragons.
Yeah.
Oh, you can believe in dragons and wheelchairs, but you can't believe in the H64 I wrote down on my book on my character sheet.
There you go.
Boys, here's to the death of gaming. Here you go.
Yeah. We should have gate kept harder.
So John,
yeah, he has to go before his wife.
Thank you for showing up.
Yes, thank you for being here.
Thank you for being here.
Making me. I mean, I've already lost faith in the hobby in a lot of ways. This is just like,
yeah,
like.
Even the picture is embarrassed to be there. Look at that wolf's face. He's embarrassed to be there.
Yeah.
By the way, if you like a good tequila, Espolon's really good.
The wolf is totally. I should have done porn with some white college girls.
If you ever feel like worth's not worth living, Espolon will bring it back to reality. Let me tell you.
Oh God!
All right.
At least they do peanut butter.
But yeah, I gotta go.
John.
See you, John.
Bud. Thanks for being here, man.
Thoughts and prayers for whatever else you look at in this, because
Trust me, we got thoughts. There aren't enough prayers. No,
I can't say what I want to because.
Yeah,
right.
I know.
It was nice meeting you, all of you.
Ross.
Yeah, Ross.
Nice meeting you. Yeah. What?
I've never been on with Guard Bro, so it was good to.
Oh look, the Para Olympic.
Oh, this is your first time with Guard Bro too?
Yep.
Yeah. Oh wow. Yeah, you got a twofer.
You guys should come back for more of my particular brand of bullshit.
the Paralympian.
All right. I'll catch you guys later. See you later.
Run while you can, boy. Run while you can.
Yep.
Skills, athletics, and athletics.
Oh, I love this comment. Hang on. Let me highlight this comment really quick.
Surely it can't get worse. So,
I
Take a look to a random page.
So, as the Keela burns the sin of my soul, was that a wheel with a smaller wheel?
Yes.
So that Paralympian description mentions like, oh, you spent years playing like this sport of your choice, and they mention like basketball and stuff. D&D has basketball now.
Get that goddamn image off the screen before I chop your neck off. Get that off of there.
I just want to know, there's basketball in the Forgotten Realms and stuff now?
I guess so. I don't know. I mean,
and the orcs are really good at it. Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Well, you've seen that orcs are Mexican now.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah. Definitely.
So of course orcs know how to play basketball.
You know what? The good thing is that, being back on topic, when we're all done here, I can go read a nice little isekai cooking anime, and the sins is gonna wash off me like steam from a freaking Attack on Titan's character. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
It makes you want to just yell at these people until they cry, which is not very hard, mind you. But it's just like, how do they not see what they're doing and how dumb it is? Like, how are they not self-aware? What?
I'm sorry. What were you saying, Guard Bro? Oh, by the way, this is pictures of my family. Would you like to buy some oranges? This is my uncle, Rico.
Would you please buy some of my oranges? My son is dying.
I'm going to be honest. I'd buy from him before I'd buy from that sketchy-looking motherfucker down by the interstate.
You just get tired. So, like, Victor is making his own game, I'm making my own game, just to break away from this stuff, like just to have some separation.
So my uncle Rico is doing the hedges. He charges very little.
If they ask what the orcs are doing in the dungeon, we now know why. It's their housekeeping.
If an orc is using a sword spear to trim hedges, he's getting a tip, dude. Like, you are fucking awesome. He's a fucking fighter.
Look, he even takes his work home with him.
Yeah.
I know.
Hey, God, bro, the funny thing is, though, that with all the stuff that we write, all kind of like weird modern stuff, a character in a wheelchair could actually sort of work. Like, there's ways that you could maybe do it. Like the villain in Shooter, that Mark Wahlberg movie.
Yeah,
like the villain is like an assassin in a wheelchair, but he's a sniper. He's not doing all this action shit. He's just sitting there like at distance with a rifle. So yeah, you could do that, but yeah.
Now this orc makes some bomb ass tacos though.
He does.
This is the shit for Shadowrun right there. You could throw this up in Shadowrun and
taco night. Green orc taco night.
Oh, yeah. Grim loves Shadowrun, by the way, Ralts.
Fucking keep your elves out of my cyberpunk.
I'm gonna put more in.
The secret to orc tacos is halflings.
Yes.
Elves are great in Shadowrun because they're more racist than your average clan member.
They are, actually.
Like, I think me and Victor like Bright, right? Like, you like Bright, didn't you, Victor?
Yeah.
Like in a Bright setting, wheelchair makes complete sense. It's modern, bro. You gotta stop that shit.
But even then, you're not gonna be a Navy SEAL in a wheelchair. You're gonna be a character in a wheelchair, and you have to deal with the wheelchair.
Yeah, this is my uncle Felipe. He's just putting in a grout and tile.
I just love doing grout in a fresh bathroom. It's very level.
He's doing a good job, though. Look at it. How many white guys do you know can do grout that good?
Grout actually sounds like an orc name.
I know it may sound weird, but I like doing grout in my traditional attire.
We mix blood in with the grout to make it work better.
Make the floor strong. Yeah.
If he does it,
Grout is my wife's name, by the way.
If he does it this good, I might hire him.
I lay tile and my wife.
I mean, that's a bomb
microwave.
I lay tile and pipe.
Guys, I gotta go do my hair. No, I'm just kidding.
Are you kidding me? No, get away.
I am grout. I am grout.
It's just you just get tired of these people. I am saying these people in a negative term. These people who just
I am.
You know what? You know
What
what?
do
It's
you
just
mean,
like
these people.
What do you mean these people? But it's just like it's just you're like, why? What is your end goal with this exactly? Like, why are you doing this? Who cares? Like,
I'm advertising for my family. Okay, this is Uncle Eduardo. He's up on the roof there doing some tiling.
Okay, that is excellent. That's some excellent shingle work. Your uncle's hired.
It is, isn't it?
I need him here on Thursday. I live in the Midwest. I need him here on Thursday.
I don't want to speak ill of the Stuttons, but those dwarves just cost too much. I'm hiring me an orc.
You want your foundations? Dwarves great for that. Roofing, no, dwarves are shit at roofing.
Yeah, there you go.
I just I don't like. At what point does things? Well, at what point do things break? I mean, we saw the whole OSR thing earlier, but when are things going to break? Like when is all going to fall apart and make you?
How about this?
Dude, I've seen those guys down in Austin.
You know that scene from Turbo, the snail movie, where it's like that with an orc.
I don't watch snail movies called Turbo. What the hell are you talking about?
So there's a movie called Turbo or some damn thing where it's like a snail that races a NASCAR or some damn thing, and like the main character is like a taco truck guy, and he like mixes like tacos lovingly. It's very funny.
Ironcaster, you can't put that up. That's racist.
I'm not putting it up. You're putting it up.
Oh, but you're not a Mexican. You can't put that up.
Oh my god.
Also, you said like
I found
apart.
some.
Have you paying attention the last week? So it's fucking.
By the way, this is one of my other uncles. I'm not going to say his name. It might be Pablo. We don't know what business he's in. He doesn't tell us exactly, but
hey, I worked construction for him.
I deal in cocaine and cocaine accessories to the elves. They're big buyers.
No. He's a honest construction company owner. That's why he outfits two of his
We
workers.
definitely don't hide bodies in the concrete, for commission.
We don't ask him what he does.
And Dominic and I approve in the chat. You see that?
Yeah,
Dominic and I approve.
That's what I loved about Shadowrun is all those pictures. Dude drives up and like, get in. We're going around the block. Like yours.
Ironcaster should put that one up again. That's good.
I got a new one for you.
Oh no!
It's just like
there we go. I'm so happy.
Holy shit!
I'm Orca Sangrio. So, like, I understand what they're trying to do, but like, they made it really Mexican.
Mine aren't Mexican. Mine are like backsuit dudes.
And they call shit.
Those guys aren't. Okay, so Victor is apparently doing the Albanians.
Yeah,
the tracksuits.
Albanians.
The tracksuits are great.
You know what I love? I just love Adidas. Orc Adidas.
You've come here on the day of my cat's
Just
quinceanera.
log it. My cat's quinceanera.
In Flintlock, the orcs were the British.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, since we are talking about, we have to bring up some positive stuff on the stream. I did start watching this show called Gangs of London, and holy shit, these guys are brutal beyond belief. I mean, it's like, this is not the funny ass, Guy Ritchie, haha, this is hilarious gangster. These guys are like, I mean, it's like, they show you all the different gangs that operate in like the Pakistanis and the Albanians and all these other groups, and I'm just like, shit, these guys that don't fuck around. It's like, there's one group of dudes who I guess they're like African or something, and they're they send guys into this bank, and these dudes go in there with these machetes and start chopping everybody's hands and shit off, and I'm just like, Jesus, these guys aren't kidding around.
No,
but I mean, like, damn. But it's a good show.
I'm so stuck on her fucking leg works. I made an immediate fucking expos too. Like, when you see it, is it her leg? Let's get them, girls. Fucking legs kicking. Like, hey, wait a minute. Like, is there like a god of like disabled people? It's like, hey, that's hateful. You can't do that. The D&D god of disabilities.
Well, I mean,
Think
Well,
about
how many?
Or the unmovable.
Well, there's like at least like 5 people on this panel that are disabled. So
Yeah.
you know,
Hey,
disabilities come in all.
Mentally or otherwise.
Can I
Yeah.
say the R word on here? Because I am that.
No.
Okay.
No.
Well, I have the pass though. I am one.
Well, okay, you have traumatic brain injuries. You have TBI. Do you have CTE also, or
They're not sure.
oh,
CTE.
yeah.
What?
Let me
I'm
hang
not
on.
up with all the hip lingo. It's either a head wound or it isn't.
Chronic traumatic encephalopathy. It's a progressive degenerative disease.
But more or less, a lot of boxers get it. A lot of footballers get it. It's where your brain becomes damaged. It kind of like.
Oh, boxer's brain, yeah.
A lot of rage issues, that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
I'm
not
not.
vote punchy.
It's not a rage issue. I have no filter anymore because I don't give a damn. So like, you shouldn't say that in public. Yeah,
that's a TBI.
Yeah, I have brain damage too, but mine's from when I pretty much died for like 8 minutes. So yeah,
I just want to kick puppies all the time. Is what I am. I'm an evil right winger, don't you know? Facebook said so.
Oh,
well.
I
just got a lot of lead in my water.
The Flint water extra tasty.
Yes, but you're also our native representative, so you're part of our diversity casting. So
yep, I learned to listen not to ever accept blankets from strangers.
Oh, I just shipped all those to you. Did you get them yet?
Do not accept the blanket from the white man.
I only sneezed on them once.
Yeah, don't accept blankets from Spaniards.
Yeah.
Why does it smell like cheddar cheese and sour cream? Don't worry about it.
Shit.
Smells like genocide.
White people taco night. White people taco night. So it's just like I think the last bastion of like the correct posture on D&D is probably the Japanese at this point. Jesus.
They're
the right thing.
I would
bro.
Well, yes, but also we are starting to see places where you're starting to see the DEI stuff kind of work in. For example, was it Bandai Namco just put in some sort of board about that?
And Capcom.
Yeah.
Well, those are all partially owned by the whites anyway. Who cares? They don't even count.
Well, it's just that they have such big crews that operate in other countries. It's like, they're having to hire outside of Japan because Japan is...
Well, that really worked out for Blizzard, didn't it, with the whole breast milk thing? The bigger you get, the more faults you have. I know you're going to say, like, well, it's a big crew, but those guys, they inflate then collapse. Like, it's just, it's a constant standard. It really is. Like, oh, Capcom or Wizard of the Coast, big crews. It's a big crew of morons who don't understand what reality is anymore. They huff their own farts all day long. Like, damn.
It is what it is, I guess.
That was 2 shots of tequila I down. That's a bad idea, actually. I'm all sweaty.
Yeah.
But like it's just like the best thing for gaming is that guy over there, that guy over there, that one up there, even though he's British, we'll give a pass on that. It's like the best thing for D&D or even manga, really, or like the content creators who aren't owned by anybody. There's no shackles on Victor, there's no collar on fucking Grim. And my neck's too fat for a damn collar anyway. But it's one of those things where, the corporations think they can monetize this crap, and they can't. They have proven over and over again they fumbled the bag every damn time. And Netflix, Netflix is only floating because they took the good anime. They took Dungeon Meshi and Blue Eye Samurai, and they're doing reruns of the old anime.
Kengan Ashura.
Yeah.
Like One Piece.
Like,
Yeah.
I guarantee
Earlier.
I guarantee you're going to see Netflix start showing Cowboy Bebop more and Outlaw Star, Tenchi Muyo, Samurai Pizza Cats. They're going to bring that stuff back.
You say that like it's a bad thing.
It's not. It was a story. But I was just reading a story where, for example, the BBC got all 1,000 or plus episodes of One Piece.
Oh, wow.
The BBC?
Yeah.
I'm shocked considering how bad Doctor Who is.
Big block cartoons.
They'll probably put it on in the after school.
Actually, you know what, Graham? I want to ask you because you're British. What do people think over there in England of the latest Black Doctor? How'd that go over? Because over here people hated it, but how'd it go over there in England land?
So it was a very sort of schizophrenic season. Some episodes were actually pretty good, but the first few were dumb as fuck, and that put a lot of people off. And the way it's perceived over here is that the Americans are dicking with it. Yeah, it's the Disney money. Yeah, it's screwing it up.
Inner goddamn Americans ruined Doctor Who.
There's a lot of denial, but I think the general consensus is this last season was better than the one previous, but that's not saying much.
Yeah, the woman one was incredibly annoying, and not because she was a woman, well maybe, but mostly just because of the way the show was written.
Yeah,
actually, I think what triggered me was the fact that, you know, at one point they brought David Tennant back in, and they were like, "Oh, look, it's David Tennant," and then they proceeded to just, you know, like shit on him, like repeatedly over and over and over, and treat him like he was. Yeah, it's something that no male presenting Time Lord could understand. You don't understand, and you never will, because you are a male. And I'm just like, oh.
I watched like one episode, and it was about like killer spiders that were made by like a female scientist, and they were like infesting like a hotel or something. And it wasn't the female scientist who made killer spiders that was the villain. She was like handled with kids' gloves by the doctor. No, it was the evil business owner, the evil hotel owner who wanted to kill the killer spiders. He was the evil guy, and he got the lectures. I'm like, what the fuck?
To quote a great philosopher of our time, how's it feel seeing your favorite franchise just go down in flames?
No kidding.
Feels great.
It feels great.
Garbro, you were saying earlier you're wondering what it would take for games to collapse, and I think it will be 6th edition, because they're going to try to walled garden that shit.
No. It's D&D 1. It's D&D done. D&D 1. So there's no more additions.
You're assuming I care what they say.
Yeah. But at the same time, like I think we discussed this a long time ago, actually, how they're going to monetize and digitize everything. You're going to have like loot boxes for gear and stuff. It's all tracked on a big digital forum with a virtual display piece.
Don't forget the pre-order FOMO.
Yeah,
we talked about it, but that's actually going to happen. I think it's actually going to be like, oh, you pay like $2.99, and now you get like a +3 longsword in your game.
Yeah,
well, I mean,
it's going to either succeed beyond dreams of avarice, and all restaurants will be Taco Bell, or it's going to fail horribly, and the industry as a whole will suffer. So, I mean,
it's one of those things where if they digitize and monetize everything about D&D, it's going to be easier to control. I mean, and what I fear as a future of DMs, right? How are you going to try and work around the fact your players? First of all, I like that image. That's funny. It's funny as fuck to me.
This is so cute. I love it.
Yeah, it's just cute as hell. But like, if you're a DM in the future and your players are loot boxing items, how the hell are you going to plan around that shit? It's not Baldur's Gate 3. You're trying to run a game. If your players can just buy loot boxes and get like a +2 longsword or whatever bullshit they have, like how are you going to work around that? Are you just going to drop in harder enemies? Like I've seen some of the old videos of what they're going to do with this new D&D virtual tabletop thing, where the DM has all these digital assets he drops in. Like, how are you going to try and balance around your players literally paying to win? Like, how
you buy monsters, you buy harder monsters.
But then you're just monetizing fucking everything. You're monetizing everything in the game, and at that point, you're just playing a video game. Like, just don't. It's already bad enough. It's already bad enough that I'm playing digital. Everyone's playing these digital virtual tabletop things, which is fine because sometimes you want to do a stream, and you're not Critical Role. You can't afford an entire crew of people to pamper your cheeks the entire time. But like, if you're just playing a video game, just play a video game. Like, I get the fact that it'd be kind of cool having. Remember how in Left 4 Dead there was a director who would kind of plop things around?
Yeah,
that'd be kind of cool having a live one. Sure.
Oh no, Raltz and I don't know Left 4 Dead at all.
No, not at all.
No, we don't know anything about that.
Okay, boomers, calm down. All right, but
video game.
I do like the idea of a human controlling the board and putting things down, but then you're just monetizing everything, and you try and balance around what your players are buying. It removes the soul out of the game. I mean, at least with the VTT, it's still all controlled by the DM. But at that point, it's
soul. Who's the boomer now?
Don't you know who Hasbro put in charge of D&D? The people who used to work at Xbox Live.
Yeah.
Over a year ago.
Speaking of Xbox,
and a bleep to you too, young lady.
You roboted. We got the first part of what you said, but not the last.
They brought him in a year ago.
I believe he said destroy Microsoft, killed Mark Zuckerberg. I think that's what he said, isn't it? Was what y'all heard too?
Oh.
But it's just... I don't look forward to the future at all now. Like I was quite excited for the future of DMing. Like if I could just drop in doop, 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 on a cool 3D board, that'd be like, let's be fair here. You know, we all DM'd here at least once, I'm sure.
No.
Like if you could have a virtual 3D board, right, where you just drop monsters in, that'd be cool. But you can't monetize. You could pay a fee. Actually, no, hold on. What's the last time Grim or Victor, who's also doing formatting, when was the last time you paid a monthly, like a yearly or a fee for a program? That's what you get, monthly fees for programs now. InDesign's a monthly fee. It's why Grim taught me Affinity, you know, that kind of stuff.
I messed up the other day. I found an AI program that does artwork that I really like, because for one thing, it's completely uncensored, because most of the AI programs are censored these days. And I'm talking about their like on all levels. This thing does like chat, it does art, it does blow ups, it does everything, but it's completely uncensored, so it doesn't filter you. And I made the mistake of, I saw, it's only $13 a month, but I didn't realize that was the yearly. So I went ahead and bought a year subscription for $156, not realizing. And so I'm committed for a year on that.
I have some subscriptions. I have a yearly subscription to Grammarly because I don't use editors. I use Grammarly because I'm poor.
Yeah. I have a friend, her cakes, and she makes me look dumb. Apostrophe dumbass. Oh shit, you're right. But it's one of those things where the future of being a game master looks just bleak, dude. You gotta pay for monsters, pay for a package. Like it's bleak. It's beyond.
Well, that's why I'm writing my own games.
Well, yeah, of course. A lot are both doing that shit, you know.
See, they've already done a lot of that. I think that's why every book has power creep. You know, the players want either you to get the new book or they get the new book because they want the new powers and subclasses and shit, and that ratchets the power level up. And then you need the monsters from the new setting book in order to balance that, and so on and so on and so on.
It's a little
just be more explicit. Yeah.
It is a monetized arms race, and what I'm always wondering this, all the time, who's going to win, the corporations or the little guys in this chat right here? Who's gonna actually come out on top?
Okay, I was gonna save this for a rant, but I'm gonna go ahead and say it now. I do still get some pays from projects I did for other artists and stuff like that on DriveThruRPG. And because of the way that DriveThruRPG holds your paychecks, it's kind of like, we can't release these funds to you immediately. You have all this, but we can't release it to you immediately, so you have to wait until we can release it to you. So I'm sitting there looking at my money, it's like, $50, $60, whatever, and I can't access any of it. However, they will let me spend that stuff on credit for games from DriveThruRPG.
Credit.
So rather than sit here and wait for them to get good and ready to release the funds in 3 months, 4 months, whatever it is it's going to take, I just started taking all that money and started buying all of these smaller games, these little, from in print form, and that's what I'm using for my unboxing videos. And the deal is, I look at it like this. A lot of people can talk about supporting the little guys and be full of shit. But in my case, I'm truthful, because it's like, you know what? I'm taking all the money I'm making and I'm directly spending it on other creators, on their projects. I'm highlighting their projects. I'm showing people other stuff that they can play aside from the big stuff, and I figure that's the biggest service I can do for people. especially those little creators. And I'm getting people on my channel who are smaller creators, and I'm trying to promote their stuff, their Kickstarters, their games, everything. I'm doing everything I can to get word out to people that there's more options. So I walk it like I talk it.
And yet on Twitter, what happens? These little flame wars happen. Everyone trying to eat each other like piranha to see who see more views on their fucking X page.
Oh yeah. People, come after my shit all, and all that, and I'm just like, dude,
You can't really properly talk about the game anymore without people attacking you. So yeah,
like there's a common enemy. It's called Big Corpo, which it's fun watching punk rock bow the knee to Big Corpo.
Gart, it ain't Big Corpo no more, man. It's crab bucket mentality.
That's true. That is true. It is crab bucket mentality. How dare you succeed while I cannot? You bastard.
Exactly.
That is the biggest reason I left the tabletop RPG industry and burnt everything down and never went back.
What, crab bucketing?
Yep.
Yeah.
I used to get tons of shit because in the back of all my products, I had advertisements for other people, for other third-party designers' games, and people would get mad. I'd be like, "Hey, I've got 2 pages open. Anybody want in for free? I'll cut it into quarter page." Oh no. And then I'd release it, and it would sell good on RPG Now, and I'd have the same people that said no bitching at me. "Oh, you won't support my stuff." Well, number 1, I think you're a tool. Number 2, you tried to get me banned from N-World. And number 3, I don't like you.
Well, to be fair, there's some. I wouldn't call calling out bad actors crab bucketing, mind you. Like, hey, don't be a dickhead on X. That's not really crab bucketing. That's more like, hey, stop being a douchebag on X and trying to tear other people down.
The crab bucketing is like, my game isn't doing well because Shadow Dog did too well.
I can't believe Shadow Shark's killing the OSR industry.
I mean, I've been feeling this sort of feeling a lot as well. I've been slowing down because my health hasn't been so good, and not being able to keep up with the releases means there's not so much money coming in. And then you look at the stuff that does succeed, the big Kickstarters, and it's jealousy when some shit tier 5th edition blob gets tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars. It is depressing, and it's hard to keep going. And then you look at the indie scene, and it's always been fractious, but it continues to get worse and worse. People should be trying to cross promote, work together, combine their funds and their efforts, and instead everyone's trying to step on everyone else to get higher. It's just so fucking depressing. But this is all I can do, so I'm stuck.
Well, the other part of it too is it's like, people will sit there and drag other creators, on YouTube and whatever, when their own stuff is generated by AI, and that aggravates me. It's like, okay, I put out a book a year or 2 ago for Grimm, and I didn't use any AI on it whatsoever. I mean, it's like, okay, yeah, maybe my illustrations, I did all the artwork myself. I did all the writing myself. The only thing in there that's not mine is Grimm's original text that appears in the book, which is included as part of it, because I said, well, this needs to be in there. Yeah, but that's the thing. At least I'm doing it. And it's like, okay, my artwork may not be the best, but I rendered everything myself. I paid for every single model that I used to render. So I created everything on my own. I didn't use one bit of AI to do any of that. That all comes from my head to the page. And it ain't selling great. It ain't, because it's a niche product for a game that a lot of people haven't heard of. But it's still mine. It's still 100% mine. I'm not going to, I have more of a base to drag someone else's artwork than, somebody who just uses a bunch of AI to generate their text and their artwork and everything else. I mean, bottom line.
See, I know that me and Victor do a lot of side eye on some of these projects. Like, oh, you AI render, huh? Because me and Victor are paying out our assholes for fucking art. Art ain't cheap. And Victor does those highly complex black and white things. Those are more expensive than mine. I mean, and me and Victor are paying for commercial rights. That stuff's expensive. And then we have guys throwing shade at me and Victor over like, and we look at their books and it's all AI rendered, chat GPT. Like, how curious.
Yeah, I think AI has its place. I'll always prefer to hire artists, but yeah, that's another thing that seems to have changed. These over bloated crowdfunding efforts, they pay artists above normal going rate, so that pushes up the cost of art for everybody. And then you have a ton of scammers preying on the art space, selling work that isn't theirs, or using AI themselves and passing it off as their own work. Yeah, it's made it extra difficult.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't get it, man. It's like I don't have anything against people who do AI for their artwork. I do have something against them if they're doing it for their actual writing, but I understand that sometimes it can help, make a sentence fragment come together better or whatever. I mean, that's perfectly fine.
Just put the work in. I mean, hell, even though me and Grim and everyone else here, Victor, we're all writing our own, we're still putting our own work. Just do another read through. You don't have to use AI. I know it's great for grammar and stuff, but some of these guys are just using pure AI and kind of doing a little spruce up so you can't catch it. Go ahead. No,
I just don't like the excuses. Like a lot of the excuses, like, well, I don't have money for art, so I have to use AI. Well, you could spend what? How much is like a good AI program a month? Like $20 or whatever. For that kind of money, you can go to Drive to RPG. You can look at publisher resources. You can look at stock art. You can buy like amazing pictures for like $2.99, $3.99, $4.99. There's like all these artists that all they do is put up art packs and like different. What's his name? Dean Carlos Castillo has like really like cheap, like really cool old school art, like thousands of images that you can buy on Drive to RPG.
Right.
So I don't really buy that whole like I'm too poor to use real art. I have to use AI.
I sell Brad McDevitt's art, clip art critters, and that's really value for money, I think.
Yeah, I've actually come across your art, so I was like, I recognize that publisher.
And you can ask Raltz about this, but I've been doing this with publishers for a long time now. I tell them straight up, it's like, hey, look, I know being able to afford art is expensive, so here's my deal. I will do art for your book. I'll do all the art you want for your book. I'll give you as many pictures as you want. All you got to do is cut me in for whatever percentage of the royalties you think I'm worth, and just pay me royalties. So, like, if the book doesn't sell, I don't make any money. And that's it. That's it's like there's no money cost to the publisher up front. And I'm pretty much having to earn my living, because if the artwork's not fucking dynamic and helps sell the book, then, I ain't making any money.
Can I tell you why I don't do that without insulting you?
I don't know. Can you?
Okay. So I don't do that. So that way, even if the book does not completely submarine and spike up, the artist still gets their due. It's more upfront costs, but I believe the artist shouldn't have to hope and pine that the book does well. Like for Connie and Musical Cake and Egg and Chloe, who are my artists, I pay them up front. Even I've taken out probably $12,000 in loans I pay back all the time. That way they get their money first. That way they stay motivated.
And that's fine if you can do it. But frequently the guys I've worked with, they don't have enough of a base to pay off artists, or they're already paying off other artists and stuff. So I'm just like, hey,
it sucks that you don't get your money. Like, you put in all that work, all that time. You can make more money. You can't get that time back. For everyone here, time is finite. Once it's gone, it's gone. And I wouldn't go ahead.
I've got to go. Is all. It's really late here. So.
I'm probably gonna head off. I'm hungry. I'm starving.
Yeah.
All right.
Take care, guys.
Definitely.
See you guys.
Head off.
Yeah.
All right.
Everyone's sleepy, eh? But anyway,
everyone's sleepy.
Just wrap it up. Time is finite, and I think artists deserve their money for their time. Call it there.
Well, back
There
when
you
me and John started, we were pretty much both on food stamps. So, we did what we had to do. It just never went anywhere.
Yeah, sadly. Well, I mean, we, like you said, we got ripped off by the people we were publishing with. So, but yeah, I would still like to see Year of the Zombie make a comeback. I would like to see it come back in some form or fashion. I mean, I don't care what system you want to use. Use Ashes Without Number. Hell, I'll buy you a copy of Ashes Without Number, and you could convert it to Ashes Without Number, or I'll help you. But we can bring it back. It's up to you.
I'm not walking back into the tabletop scene again. I've had it.
All
I thought about it.
Sure?
I started about 3 years ago to start to get back into it. I took one look at the trash fire and went, no, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing the stress. I'm not doing the anger. I'm not doing I'm coming to your house with a machete.
So to be fair, he has a point. It is kind of a young man's game because you got to fight for the next 10, 15, 20 years to make your stake. So I mean, if you had your shot, you don't want to deal with that crap anymore. It's only intensified now. Back 10 years ago, even 10 years ago, 2013, there were still D&D magazines.
We're talking like 20 years ago.
but even back then, is a lot more even level game. I think you're all in the same niche. Now there's X drama and call outs on YouTube and people sending pipe bombs to your house or some damn thing over D&D.
Pizzas.
Pizzas. I mean, it's far more intense. And I cannot blame Routes for even going to hell with it. I ain't doing that crap. Like I can't even blame them. And Victor and T-Shirt and Iron, think of the guys coming after us. They are boned, dude. Could you imagine having a game right now? I think a new RPG game. It's going to be an absolute hellscape. Like, what's this 21-year-old know about D&D anyway? And it's all like the Grognards and OSR, and then me and Victor and Ironcatcher and T-Shirt and all the new ones coming up. It's a whole other scale of madness coming up here.
Why don't you roll up the table and tell me about your favorite monster girl?
There you go. Well, all right, guys.
So good.
Finish up.
No, I just wanted to say, like, all this drama is kind of pushing me to just do better, though, because I think the best revenge is to be successful and like flaunt my money at all the haters eventually. So
that's a point. That's a point right there. Like, hey, while you were mad, I studied the blade. You get this big
exactly.
While you were shit posting on X, I studied the RPG pages.
No.
Well, all right, guys. We drifted way off topic from our original topic. I kind of knew we would with who we had, but that's okay. That's okay because we did get to talk about about Japan and their influence on Western gaming culture and how it's worked and how it's gone back and forth and how it's circular.
I tried. You know that I tried. You saw me. I tried.
You did.
This was more old school Week in Geek.
It really did feel like old school Week in Geek. Yeah, I need to get that. Bastard, you got that. And you got the other one that I don't have yet, too.
Convictor Drive?
No, not Convictor Drive. I need to get that also, but the other one that we got ordered.
I thought you said Convictor Drive. I'm like, yeah,
Kamigakari.
Kamigakari. I'm waiting for Kamigakari, yeah. And Konosuba and Goblin Slayer.
I hate Konosuba. That's another time.
Oh, come on now. That was a good one.
I detest Konosuba. LOL, I stole your underwear. Go to hell.
But anyway, I hope you guys had a good time. I hope you audience had a great time. This went wild. We almost went 3 hours. It's crazy. So
that like never happens. It's crazy.
It never happens. No, it used to happen all the time, but we kind of quit doing that. But
you got old.
We got old. Well, yeah. Well, that and we still have to have
a 4-hour podcast.
Well, we still have to
stop and take a pee break.
We still have to have material for Tuesday because we got Tuesday coming up too.
I gotta take a piss. Hey, don't worry, Watsy. Maybe do something for Labor Day and completely piss everyone off.
If not, I hope I can get this panel that includes you, Ralts, back for Tuesday night so that we can bullshit on Tuesday with Geeks because that's usually our chill channel where we can really talk all the mess that we want to about stuff.
I might stream Monday because it's my birthday, but we'll see.
You gotta. Sometimes it's hard to get a hold of me on the weekdays because I write, and when I write, I have fugue states and write like 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 words. So,
okay, well, I'll set it up ahead of time. So
if I don't answer, it's probably because I'm fugued out.
Okay, well, Fair enough. But anyway, I hope you'll join us on Tuesday for Tuesday with Geeks.
Yeah, that's right. I showed you the cover. That's right.
Yep, you did. And
well, maybe one of these
time.
days we'll sit down and talk about something like Fabula Ultima.
Yes, we will. We will talk about Fabula Ultima sometime. But until then, y'all take care. Catch us tomorrow because I'm going to be running my game.
Bye.
Bye.
I'm going.
On behalf of the staff of the Independent California Motel, I wish you all sweet dreams.